And welcome back, everyone, to Dinner and a Game. Let me make sure that all the audio has not gone insane. And oh my god, it has not.
Two
Oh,
for two.
you have no idea how much mad scrambling just went on. That's why we're 5 minutes late, and I really apologize for that, folks. But everything seems to be working. Nothing has broken. Oh shit, where's wood? I reached the wall. It's good. All right, so tonight is a very special night because we took a poll on our Facebook group for the actual for dinner and a game, and we asked you guys what did you want to see us play. Because Monster of the Week, although we loved the game and we were having a great time, Monster of the Week was not really drawing anyone in. And it probably was my fault. I probably didn't get to tell a compelling enough story because I had great players. And so it was basically just not drawing anyone in. And we want to always put forth content that has people's attention. So we decided to actually ask the people what they wanted to see. We put out a bunch of games to be voted on. And the overwhelming choice was Firefly, the Firefly RPG. I've run Firefly a couple of times before. It's a completely different system than Roll20. It's got a completely different mechanic. It's called the Cortex system. And so we took the past week mad scrambling to make characters and get ready for this. But my players have always are amazing, and this week has really like proven how good they are as gamers because they all came together and they threw together characters and they threw together backstory and they have been really just busting their asses to get ready for this. And I really have to thank you guys so much. You have no idea how much it means to me that you guys put in the time because everyone here works full-time jobs, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone here has tons of other obligations, and just to have you guys have been with me for through this and making sure we had a show for this Friday, I cannot even begin to tell you how much I appreciate it. So thank you.
Oh. Oh no, stop.
Oh no,
Stop.
Josh, you've given me
Oh,
enough reward,
God.
Josh.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not go
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
I felt
I'm gonna finish my
I,
character.
I felt obligated to do this for you because you sent me this nice new webcam, and now everyone can see all of my blemishes and
You look so
all
pretty.
of my mustaches in high definition for everyone now.
Well,
You look so
it's not
pretty.
4K, so you still have some protection.
I'm not even in 4K in real life.
I don't think I was always wondered about 4K. It's like
I'm
you can't
maxed
actually
out.
see with that much
It's more
clarity.
like
So what's the
4K.
Yeah,
point?
like I'm maxed out at 1080p as a person.
Gotcha. All right. So, also, ladies and gentlemen, we have had some casting changes, but I would like to announce that Lauren has joined us. Lauren is a member of the Texas Crit Roll Fan Club and the Texas Crit Roll Discord, and she has agreed to join us for our Firefly campaign. So, thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us, Lauren, especially considering that I understand you're now fostering an insane puppy.
Little bit. No, thank you very much for inviting me.
Yep. Lauren actually runs her own uh, uh, Twitch show. So I would like to give Lauren a few moments to go ahead and plug your show, Lauren.
Yeah, sure. So I'm one of the DMs for The Keep over at The Keep RPG on Twitch. We are currently in the middle of a homebrew campaign that I sort of put together and started running last year. And we started streaming it at the beginning of this year because we are a bunch of goofy people and just kind of want to share that out there. So it is D&D. We play 5e, and like I said, the setting is homebrew, and you guys should definitely come check us out.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And for anyone who is like only just familiar with our page right now, if you go to our Twitch, we do stream Lauren's show whenever we're not actually running. And once again, Meg is freaking on point, and she has Lauren's page posted up on our chat stream as well. So the Keep RPG, I've actually watched several episodes, and that's how I actually just wanted to invite Lauren because I've seen her GM style, and I saw how she plays, and I knew she'd be an incredible asset for us. So I wanted to bring her over, and plus give us a great chance to cross promote between the two streams. So thank you again, Lauren, for coming in, and we hope it's not too traumatizing.
Right. Let's
Yeah.
be
This will
honest
be a lot
here.
of
You
fun.
just wanted to look at her bookcase more.
Yeah, and then she blurs it out.
Yes.
Blurred
I
it.
know.
I know.
Yeah. The amazing bookcase. Like that's the show right there.
That was
It is a dope work of art.
that was the identifying factor in when Ray was trying to let me know like who he was trying to invite. He was like, Lauren, she's been in on some of the critter chats with us, and I was like,
blonde girl
There's
with
a lot of-
glasses, and Cassie was
yeah,
like,
and
I'm
I was
a
like,
blonde
there's a
girl with
lot of
glasses.
people who well, not anymore, but
Yeah.
I was just like, there's a lot of people who come through that chat, and he's like, she's got the really cool bookcase behind her, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So,
What an awesome thing to be known for.
I know,
Right?
I'm so happy.
so we have a little bit to get through tonight. We are running a completely new system. I think that Jessica, Jonathan, and I may be the only people who've played this. Has anyone else played Cortex?
Well, technically, it's Cortex Plus.
Yes, this is Cortex Plus. You're correct. Because the Cortex system is old. All right, so tonight we're going to go through what we did for character creation. Hey, Reaper. And we're going to go through a session 0. Everyone already actually has their characters made because the Cortex system is a little bit more involved. So we went ahead and let everyone go ahead and make their characters ahead of time. Some of the players have already tied their backgrounds into each other. Most of them have not. And so we're going to be doing a session 0, which is going to be basically tying the characters together because we're going to start the game off as them all being a functioning crew of a ship in the verse just trying to make a living. So we're going to go ahead and start out with a little bit of a description of what the Cortex system is. You're going to find when you play the Cortex system that you're looking at some very familiar objects. All the dice used in the Cortex system are the same polyhedral dice used for D&D with one exception. In the Cortex system, there is no D20. The D20 is not utilized at all. And instead of having a target number on a D20 to utilize to hit, you have a target number that the GM sets by rolling his own dice. So when I give you a target number, I literally have rolled dice to determine what that target number is, and that's what you roll to beat. And in the Cortex system, instead of having just a single D20, you actually create dice pools. And perhaps the most important mechanic in the Cortex system is something called plot points. Plot points are the basic meat of this game. There is 100 different ways to get them, but when you roll dice, normally what you do is you take your attribute dice and skill dice. There'll be anywhere from a D4 all the way up to a D12, and you roll those and you add those two dice together, and that's what you get to try and reach the target number. The other way comes around from the GM does the same thing. He gets two dice, he sets the parameters, and then he rolls those dice, adds them together, and that's the number you have to beat. So actually, technically, I did that in reverse. The GM rolls first, sets the target number. The players roll to raise the stakes or beat that target number. You can actually increase your dice pool using plot points by doing several different things. They can basically go through and they can add in the plot point to add a die directly. For every 2 plot points you spend, you get to step up a dice. So if you spend 2 plot points, you get a D4. If you spend 4 plot points or 3 plot points, you get a D6. If you spend 4 plot points, you get a D8, etc., etc. That is just an extra die to roll and keep in the system. Okay, but that's really expensive. You have all kinds of special abilities on your character sheet that let you spend plot points to get dice from other items. Like there is an item that Jonathan was talking about just before the game. It is, what was it again, Jonathan? The attribute, not attribute, but the assets. The signature assets. They're like Mal's pistol, the Liberty Hammer. That is Mal's signature asset. If he is in a situation involved that he is basically having to use his pistol, he can spend a plot point and get a dice that is attributed to that pistol, which is usually a D8 for signature assets, then he can actually throw that D8 into the dice pool, roll 3 dice, and then choose the highest 2 to keep. So, and you can do things like spend plot points to keep extra dice. And so this is a very dynamic, very cinematic system. So, that all being said, our players have already gone through and built their characters out. So let's go through real quick and go over who the cast of Firefly is going to be. And we'll start with we would have started. Oh, there he is. Josh, I was going to say we were going to start with the captain, but you disappeared for a second. Josh Runyon is playing Alan. Oh my God, fractured last name. Alan Parish, and he is going to be playing the captain of the Borealis, which is going to be their ship. I don't think we've even built the ship yet.
Technically, no.
Nope. But we'll go over that too during this, because we'll decide what type of ship it is, and we'll go get the mechanics down later on. But we'll decide what type of ship we're going to be utilizing as we go through this.
Hey, you already have a mechanic.
No. Never mind. Yes. Seen you naked. So anyway, so Alan Parish, Josh, why don't you give us a description of Alan as far as you want to.
Okay. So Alan is a man that could be physically described as positively jagged around the edges. So Alan is mighty hideous. He has been horribly scarred, kind of cut up. His face is pretty much the entire right side of his face is just an absolute nightmare to look at. He survived an attack from Reavers a couple years back, and this has left him not disfigured in a way where he is no longer able to be functioning, but disfigured to a point where he is not much to look at. He already was kind of a rough and tumble looking guy. Alan is also, on top of that, built like a brick shit house. Alan is about 6'5", probably around like 340, 350, very broad. He would look, if humans were Mario characters, he would be that giant walking block that just goes and falls down on you. He's older as well. He's 48 years old. So he's getting a little old for this. And he's very quick to remind everyone that he's getting too old for this shit. He's looking
catchphrase.
Yeah, he's looking to retire, but that is much easier said than done when you're working on the verse. It's money is few and far between. But he loves his crew, he loves his ship, and most of all, he loves his brother. Which brings me to Hank, his little brother Hank.
That is me.
I'll pass the torch to my little brother Hank.
There we go.
Yeah. You ain't dying yet. All right. So my name is Josh. Also, I will be playing Hank Parish. As you can tell, he is, or as previously mentioned, he is related to old Alan. So Hank, as a kid, was taken by the Alliance because the Alliance are assholes, and I don't know how far we're going to get into the backstory, but let's just say that he grew up under the Alliance's watch, became became an engineer for them because he just picked it up like that. And one day when he was able to, he stole a ship and left. He went home to his mom and to hopefully his brother, and that's when his mom told him that his brother had split, and so he went out searching for him, and saved his ass from the Reavers, or what was left of his ass, not to mention his face. You can't tell the difference nowadays. And so so he spends so they've been pretty much inseparable since then. Hank will always say that Alan is the ambitious one. Hank is just fine working on the ship, building shit. But he is always there to have his brother's back because he doesn't feel guilt for not being there, but he wants to make sure something like that never happens. So he'll through and through, he'll always have his brother's back. He's pretty not a wallflower, but he doesn't really engage too much. He honestly, as far as people go, they're all right, I guess, but he prefers to be in the company of machines. It's where he feels most at home, most comfortable.
Got it. All right, so let's flip it around. Lauren.
Yes.
Would you like to go next?
Sure. So I'm playing Jude Kaveri. And when you look at her, you see a short, well-muscled woman with bright hazel eyes and reddish-brown hair. It's cut very short. You see her clothes are a little older, well-worn, but well taken care of, repaired with some skill. Her clothes are neat and pressed, and she wears them very professionally. Her leather boots and belt are clean and polished. You see a woven leather bracelet that she wears on her left wrist, and she fiddles with it, twisting it whenever she is nervous or a little anxious. As she moves, she carries herself straight and tall, almost rigidly, with her eyes almost always darting around. She's typically standing back away from the center of the action, preferring to watch and observe and keep an eye out for things. And she's typically going to be on the ship. She loves her job as a pilot. She loves flying out in the big black, and she's not a huge fan of being on the ground. She has this air about her where she's almost always looking over her shoulder, waiting to see someone following, just keeping an eye out and keeping a very wary air.
Mm-hmm.
Wary air.
Gotcha. So, Jonathan, would you like to go over your character, please?
Sure. So my character's name is Baden. He spent his entire life growing up in the White Sun system, which is as core as you can possibly be. So he grew up on Londonium, which is the capital planet, and he actually grew up in the capital city itself. His parents were not like ridiculously rich, like in that sense, but they were well off. His mom basically played the socialite style game. When he was a preteen, he ended up deciding that he wanted to join the Companions Guild, which was against his parents' wishes. So his father got a companion to try to talk him out of it, and instead he ended up convincing the companion that's really what he wanted to do, and ended up getting to go with the companion back to Sinnoh so that he could train. His first client actually ended up being a long-term client. And shortly after that contract ended, he decided that he wanted to get as far away from the core as he could. And that's kind of how he ends up with everybody else. So he's kind of fresh and new to parts of the companion stuff, because while he's been doing it for a year and a half, 2 years, he hasn't had as many clients as somebody wouldn't have been hired like as a long-term regular, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he he interacts with the crew, but he also seems like he keeps his distance to a certain extent as well. It's almost like that emotional distancing you would expect from somebody who has a job as a companion. And for the benefit of anybody that's in the stream that isn't a Firefly fan, companions are not just sex workers. They offer a lot of other services, despite what the captain is going to tell you later.
Alrighty, thank you, Jonathan. Cassie, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, my stuff is going crazy.
Always, we're streaming. It has to go crazy.
Wait, it's telling me I have no internet. Why are you telling me I have no internet?
It's fine.
Sorry. My character is Harriet Galveston, but she goes by Harry. She much prefers that. Don't call her Harriet. She is, and the whole reason I'm trying to get back on the internet is because I was going to bring up the 20 questions to kind of look through a little bit of that and try and answer some of those while looking at them. And of course, things are going haywire. Of course, stop. Just stop, please.
Just wing it.
No
pressure. Put your life.
Because I've thought some things, but that.
What does she do?
She's the doctor for the ship.
And how does she receive her medical training?
So that was something I was still trying to figure out a little, because we had talked a little bit about if she had been like a medic in the war or something along lines, which I was thinking yes. I had finally come up with an answer to that question. Yeah. Yes. But that her job afterwards would probably have been like at a hospital or something somewhere until she realized like this is not. There are people who need help more elsewhere and left.
Gotcha. Was she leaving with the intention of starting a clinic somewhere, or just going out to find it and set up a separate practice somewhere on her own where she felt she could be more hands-on type thing?
Yeah, probably something along those lines.
And which side did she? Which side did she? Was she a medic for in the fight? In the Unification War?
That's a really, really good question.
Yeah. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand, we literally started making characters this week, and so we were like, some of the players haven't even finished. Like I've said before, I give out a 20 questions sheet that basically helps the players build out their characters, and I think only 2 people have managed to actually get it done. And that's completely understandable with the short time period we had.
Technically, we started 2 days ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, we actually started building characters 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I'm literally the most indecisive person on the face of the planet.
No.
I gave Cassie...
You're not allowed to say anything, okay?
I gave Cassie like 8 or 9 months. I gave Cassie like 8 or 9 months advance to let her know that when we were finishing our last campaign that I would be jumping immediately into another one. So start thinking of your character now. And we got her character finalized like a week before.
Yeah. It still took me a very, very long time to figure things out.
Well, then I really appreciate the fact that you pretty much nailed it down to a doctor. And
like that alone
she has a name.
I have a name. That's a big one.
Not just a name that she prefers rather than her real name.
That's
Here's a good
details,
question,
guys.
Why does she prefer Harry over Harriet?
Because I had come up with like a little thing about that because of her having like served during the war and stuff. That like going by Harry felt like she was more accepted, maybe along like with the other like soldiers and such. Like, but rather than going by Harriet,
so she
because people would be like, "Oh yeah, Harry."
Was she an infantry field mechanic? A medic?
Medic. Yeah.
So she was actually embedded with troops moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So either side she fought on, that is a grisly business.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you're seeing firsthand trauma, and you're just trying to hold people together long enough to get them off the battlefield and keep them alive long enough to get them out.
Probably another reason why she left a job at a normal, like as a normal doctor every day, was probably just not exciting enough for her after having gone through that.
Well, there's excitement, and then there's trauma.
Well, not exciting, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. So what I was going to ask you is,
there's excitement and then there's trauma.
Yeah. How do you?
I mean, this really works for me because I work in surgery for a living.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, like excitement. Like,
well, yeah, but
it's exciting to her.
How does she deal with the aspects of what happened during the war?
Probably not in the greatest ways.
Gotcha. So,
is she drunk doctor?
Drunk doctor?
No, she's not. No.
That's way more common than you think, though.
No.
What I was going to ask you is, what I was trying to get at is, does she suffer any long-lasting ill effects from having been in those situations?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Okay.
But again, it's probably one of those reasons why she wanted to get out and try and do something different than trying to live like a normal, like everyday kind of life. Like that didn't appeal to her. She's already been through too much.
Yeah, after all that trauma and all that chaos of basically living through war zones after war zone, and instead of being one of the people fighting to, defeat the enemy, you're one of the people trying to keep these freaking kids alive when they were getting torn up by shrapnel, cluster mines, getting, hit by artillery shells and blown into pieces. But, sometimes some of those pieces last for a little while before they're not people anymore. And you're the person who had to hold that hand.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot to have on your shoulders. And so being in a hospital and seeing all these people going about their daily lives after coming out of this hell, it was probably almost surreal.
Yeah.
Because there's people coming to the emergency room because they got an affected hangnail, and they're worried, that it's gonna, something bad's gonna happen because it really hurts.
Exactly.
When you're having a flashback to the time you found a 19-year-old kid's foot for him, because he was so freaked out that his foot got blown off that he would not let himself be evac'd from the battlefield without it. So you literally had to run through shell fire, find this poor kid's foot, and bring it to him so he would stop fighting the medic team to get him off the field.
I was going to ask, how's your bedside manner?
Great. I'm sure it's great.
Oh, she towards like patients, she would be nothing but like absolutely like on point, like just so kind and like.
Okay, well let me give you this one. What would happen? What would your experience be when a mom comes in with a kid and you look him over and this kid obviously just has this kid obviously just has a cold.
Yeah.
But this mom is insisting, and she's got a platinum medical card. She can ask for whatever she wants. But your hospital, the hospital's full and the triage is full, and this kid has a cold. You need to get the hell out of here. But she's insisting that he be admitted because she knows what's wrong with her kid. And you know that this is going to take up a bed that someone else needs.
Damn, man, why you gotta do this to me on the spot?
And now take that back to you have, in your experience, in your lifetime, have literally had to look at two different people laying on a battlefield and go, take him, this one's not going to make it. Because when you said you have a wonderful bed...
what like I imagine her like what she would do is like literally lay out like detailed like all of the symptoms her child is experiencing and how that equates to exactly what she is trying to like. She would literally just drop all of the like knowledge bomb.
Of
Like,
course, of course.
This is exactly what's going on with your child's body, and this is what they need, and this is like, and the fact that like admitting them to the hospital is not going to help. Stop. Sorry.
It's okay. It's Frumpkin.
I actually like that you're telling them to stop.
Stop.
Just stop.
Let me
stop.
use a
Let me tell you,
term
stop.
that will hopefully put this situation in context. You're dealing with a Karen.
Ooh.
So
then if they're still insisting even after I've done all that,
she's
then I
not
would
just
say
insisting. She is saying things like, "Look, I know you're not used to dealing with situations like this because you're one of those vets. I can tell just because of the way you look." She says, "But things go different here." And she kind of flashes her platinum card and she says, "This says I get to see say what happens to my son. So why don't you just
then
buzz
I would
someone
tell
else
then I would
in?"
tell her she is more than welcome to take her kid elsewhere to see someone else because I'm not doing it.
Okay. So how would you deal with the
Maybe-
dressing
maybe
down that
that's
came
why
down from the
she's
head of
not working
surgery?
at the hospital.
Yeah,
Wait,
How would
what?
you
definitely
deal
possible.
how would you deal with the dressing down you would get from the chief resident after that?
I mean, I'd explain the situation and let him know like that's it. Like that's how I felt about the situation. There's more important people that needed to be seen.
That's
Fire
probably why
me,
you're
I
not
dare
there
you.
anymore. So yeah, I mean the whole idea.
I
of-
want to also like reiterate that like while I work in the medical field, I work in the county hospital as well, so
Mhm.
that is my legitimate outlook on my
Yeah,
on
but
my approach.
in
Like
county you don't get situations like that.
you don't get situations like that,
Yeah,
but if
I've
it were ever to
literally-
arise, that's exactly how I would handle
Yeah.
that situation personally.
I
Just
was-
throwing that out
Jessica
there.
and I were I had to take Jessica to the emergency room one time up in the Woodlands,
Mm-hmm.
and and the emergency room was packed that night because
Yeah.
one of the other hospitals had to shut down for some reason, and so the Woodlands was packed, and there were people whose privilege was showing
Oh
out
yeah.
their gills because they were screaming and crying, raising a fuss, I have blah 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 insurance and blah blah blah, and it's just going absolutely crazy because they couldn't get
One
seen.
of one of the reasons why I work at county is because of the fact that I did a lot of my training at private hospitals, and I was like, this is not for me. So,
Yeah,
and I
so-
don't really deal with awake patients either. Like without having to deal with patients while they're awake. Like
That's
I was
that's kind of what I was going with your character, because if you worked at a core hospital, and
Yeah.
there are that would probably be where your whole I need out of here. I need to actually treat people that are going to appreciate what what the treatment is. They're going to listen to me. They're going to respect me because this is not. I'm going to shoot somebody.
yeah,
Here, allow me to tell you where you can shove your platinum card.
exactly.
So Cassie, how old
Swipe
is
here,
is Harriet?
please.
Hmm?
What was that,
How
Jonathan?
old is Harriet?
Oh yes, how
You
old
know,
is Harriet? Or Harry?
that's not one of the things I had thought about.
So the Unification War, and to give everyone a frame of reference, the Unification War ended 2 years ago. So we're basically in the same time period as when Mal first got Serenity.
Yeah. So 2 years. Probably like late 20s, mid late 20s.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so you got some good foundation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's great to work from.
Sorry.
So, next, Jessica,
What?
why don't we go over your character?
I did not choose the name.
Yes, I
I
did
could not think
because
of one.
you refused to give me a name, so I just gave you one.
Yeah, so
Her name is Kelly. Oh my gosh, I
Lane.
forgot. Lane, and she is a security expert.
Yes.
So you basically,
Yes.
I think, if I remember correctly, when we were talking about it, you basically weren't involved in the Unification War because. Do you want to go ahead and do? Why don't you give your character background? Because I don't know how much you want to reveal and how much you want to keep close to the vest. So
Um, the reason I was not in the Unification War was I was away at school where a judge told me I had to be for X amount of time. Because, yeah,
So what did you get sent away for?
fighting.
They don't usually send you away for fighting unless someone else didn't make it out of that fight. So what did you get sent
Like
away
she
for?
said, fighting.
I didn't
It was a
realize
one-sided
he
fight.
had an undiagnosed heart problem.
So
It was behind the bar. They paid me 50. They said they'd give me 50 if I knocked him out. I didn't realize what it would do.
so it was unlicensed pit fighting for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. So you basically accidentally killed a man in an unlicensed pit fight.
Yeah.
You got. I'm assuming you basically got put up for something along the lines of manslaughter, because other thing or involuntary manslaughter, because anything else you would never be coming out of there again.
Yeah, well, something like that. But because I hadn't quite finished high school yet and I hadn't really gone to college yet, they just, lawyers made deals and time served, and I learned even better ways to bare knuckle box while I was in.
So when you came out, before you went in, how old were you?
I was 17.
So, so you basically were convicted. You basically were young enough to where they were like, she doesn't have a priors, she doesn't have a record. This was, obviously an illegal fight, and desperate for money type situation. So, there was some negotiation, and you served how long?
Raised by a single parent, all 9 yards.
No, you served how long? How long were you in
3
prison?
years.
3 years. Okay, so you served 3 years. You got out.
There might have been some fighting while I was inside that made me stay inside a little bit longer, which is
Okay, so you would have you 3 to 5 would have been like the minimum you would have gotten. So if you did anything in prison that made your sentence longer, then you're not staying in 3 years. You're throwing in 8 to 10. Especially if you committed violent acts while in prison.
it was self-defense.
That doesn't usually go down. If
That I was
both
defending
parties
myself?
in prison, if both parties live through the fight, then they both get written up for violent offenses.
Well, yeah, but
And then if one of
again,
them dies, the other one gets written up for murder.
I did not kill her.
Jess, maybe you got the Karen that got Mary Tyler as your lawyer, and she helped you get an appeal.
Probably.
So you
But-
basically, I understand what you're saying. You basically use your time in prison to learn more skills.
Yeah.
When you got out, what did you do? How long have you been out of prison?
I'm going to say I'm in my late 20s now.
Okay, so
So-
17. So you got out of prison roughly when you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
So then you spent another 7, 8 years doing what?
Well, my favorite security guard in the box gave me the name of someone who could help me take some classes so that, I can do security myself
Mm-hmm.
and things like that.
So you basically went in and kind of went into he basically gave you the number of a guy who opened a private security firm. And
Yeah.
from there, They basically trained you on how to be a personal security guard. Have trained you on how to, you were mainly hand to hand combat because, like
Yeah.
you said, you were fighting for prize money and stuff like that. And so they taught you other means to protect yourself, such as firearms. They literally showed you how to work with a security team in tactical situations.
Oh yeah.
And so you got some experience. So you spent the next 6 years basically being an apprentice at a security firm. What
Yep.
made you leave?
Huh?
What made you leave
The owner got handsy.
after 7 years?
Well, that happens when the owner gives it to his son because the owner retires. Yeah.
That's better. So the ownership of the firm changed hands. The owner's
Yeah.
son came in
And then those hands got handsy.
and those hands got handsy. And the owner's son was basically, was he like pretty much disrespectful of the security people there?
Only the females.
Oh, it's even better. All right, no problem. So did you burn a bridge when you left? I.e., did you knock him the fuck out?
No, but I may have told his wife about the girls he had been giving hugs to at work.
Did you like do the whole security thing and provide her with actual evidence for when
Yes,
she
I
goes to
did.
court?
Yeah.
All right, so you definitely burned a bridge.
I'm actually still on because, she wants alimony and I'm a witness, so yeah.
Well, you're not on payroll of the security firm anymore, though.
No.
Okay.
No, she
That's-
just has my number and everything in case she needs
That's what I
me
meant.
to-
You burned a
Yeah.
bridge with the son.
You're on the bridge while it's burning.
Yeah.
Yes.
You burned a bridge with the new owner of the security firm, but once the divorce is finalized, he may not be the owner of the security firm anymore.
No,
So
she's sure it's going to be her. And
of course she is, but
then
that's not.
I'll have a definite end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the point. You
Yeah.
burned a bridge, possibly. You basically can't go back to that.
Yeah, well, not until she takes over.
Gotcha. So yeah, like I said, but that's not until after the court case. So in the meantime, you started looking for work. All right, I think.
And I got a job with the brothers. They wanted security detail on their ship.
Let's jump right to that then. The way we're
I
going to
actually
handle.
have an idea for that.
Well, actually, the way we're going to handle the actual ties to each other is there's a mechanism in this game that's called the flashback. Remember, I was talking about plot points and how important they are to the game. You can actually spend a plot point to activate, let's say, a signature asset that you don't actually have that is only usable for this adventure, this evening, right? And if you do that, I can actually ask the characters to do something called a flashback. And that's where the characters together combine to tell a story that describes a similar situation to the one we're looking at now and relates to the situation. And then if the flashback is cool and everything like that and everyone enjoys it, then not only do you get the plot point, the advantages of the plot point you spend, but you also get your plot point back. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a flashback for this, and then I'll tell you what the rewards for flashback will be afterwards. So what were you going to say, Mr. Runyon?
Oh, and he just popped out.
Oh no, he broke. All right.
Oh no!
Yeah, he's-
Turn him
Look
off
what
the
you did.
flashback, Ray.
Huh? He's a flash. He's
Turn him off
he's
with the flashbacks. He doesn't want to relive the Reavers.
he doesn't want to.
No.
There's a guy gnawing on my face.
He's like, I wasn't lucky. They didn't do it in that order.
Oh no! Oh no!
God. Oh no.
That was wrong.
Oh. Okay, sorry, I was slow on that.
Wow, that's
That was
Yeah.
dark real fast.
Well, they
We
couldn't
went
have done that
Well,
because the first one involves death, and then it's the other two, and he didn't die. So I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
We're so
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, that went bad, Jonathan. That was dark.
hold on 1 second.
Okay. What's up?
And
You know,
who
in
had
fairness, I
a-
just rewatched that episode last night,
Yeah.
and that's in the first episode. So, well, not the real first episode that aired, but the real first episode of like the way he wanted the show to
Yeah.
be.
The canonical first episode,
Mm-hmm.
not the out of sequence Fox screws everything up episode.
Yeah, you know, somebody should like have included in the DVD box set like we put it in the canonical order, and then here's the out of sequence Fox order if you want to see how jacked up they did it.
Oh, I think no, it's not in the box set.
No, I'm sure somebody's got it online. There's got to be like a million.
Oh no,
of
there
them
is.
listed online.
I was just thinking if it was actually in the box set itself. There he is. All right. So,
Hey.
Josh.
I made it.
They did horrible things to you in your absence, sir.
Oh yeah, that's nothing worse than what could have been done to me by the Reapers.
Dun dun dun.
So
Exactly
funny
what
you
we're
should
talking
mention
about.
that.
You didn't hear what Jonathan said. Jonathan went to a dark place. All right, Josh. You said you had an idea for that.
I do. So she mentioned that she was basically doing like fight pits, which is something that I wrote into Alan's backstory. As a young man with a lot of anger and not really knowing what to do with any of it, and also being just a large young man, he developed a taste for working out his aggression with his fists, and that's kind of followed him the rest of his life. It's probably what saved him from the Reaper attack, was the fact that he is so scrappy and he's taken hits his whole life, taken more, whatever. But I think that, you know, old habits die hard, and maybe both of us were somewhere that we both knew there would be a little action, and we ran into each other there, and either, and like, you know, feel free to chime in on this with me as well, Jess, if you like it, but maybe we either fought each other, and like you bested me, and I was like, wow, like this tiny little scrapper girl just kicked the shit out of me, like, do you want a job?
I was gonna say I don't think she's tiny. We
everything is
forgot
tiny
to do
to
your
him.
physical description, Jessica. So why don't you go ahead and give a physical description of what Kelly looks like?
Think a brunette Ronda Rousey,
Okay,
but taller.
so a Cara Dune kind of a situation?
Yeah.
Word. Then I would most definitely be like, yeah, hey, do you want a job?
Hell yeah.
I feel like if we met that way and I either saw you like take somebody out super efficiently, and you know, I'd say probably me and Hank were trying to scope out for crew, and like we'd probably go for security first, because if you don't have a good baseline, then like how are you going to get people to join on and feel safe?
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
I'm picturing it like Alan's just like, all right, we gotta look out, we gotta find some some security.
Well,
and Hank's just like, well, what about her?
Let's hang on.
Beating the shit out of somebody.
We're getting a little bit out of sequence here. So let's rewind this. You guys are on Persephone, and you've gotten wind, and you guys have had a rough time. It's only the two of you. You just got your ship up and running. You've been looking for work. You know, the initial funds are starting to run low, and so Alan, just out of desperation, you booked yourself a couple of fights with a underground promoter, you know. So you go down and you hit the ring, and your first bout goes fine. You know, you win. It was basically an untrained rookie, and you win pretty handily. And you see this woman. Give me a general description, baby. What color? How does she wear her hair?
If I'm fighting, my hair's back.
Yeah, but how long is it? Is it back up in a tight bun? Is it
It's
long? Or is it short?
I'm gonna say, okay, my hair is relatively long. See, it's really long.
Right.
Yep, that's my. Yeah, so it's really long, but it's tied back.
Yeah, it's basically strapped up on the back.
I can't do the braids and everything because
Right.
I missed that day in girl camp. I don't know.
So you see this girl, and she's there. There's no separation. Men fight women. It doesn't fucking matter. It's only done by weight classes and stuff like that. So she's stepping into a
Handsome.
yeah. She's basically she's in a middleweight weight class for men for the fighting, and she steps in and she shows actual real skill. Alan, you're a brawler. You know how to fight. You recognize quickly that she is very well trained. She is economy of movement. She is surgical strikes, but there is a lot of power there, and you can tell just by the way that she's throwing her punches that she's not just here to make money. She is here to take out some aggression, because she doesn't just hit to disable the other fighter. She is putting those punches to where she is hurting the other fighter. And so you recognize a lot of the traits that,
that I have.
Make someone a very vicious opponent. And so you, on the second round, you draw her. And the fight does go very well for both of you, but in the end, she's younger. She's just about almost as physically strong as you are. Not physically strong, but she matches your physical strength with her agility and speed. And in the end, she just has more cardio. So she basically starts getting the upper hand, and these are not fights to knock out; they're fights to tap out. So you recognize you're just taking too much fucking punishment in this fight, and you still have to work.
Yeah.
So you basically you're also not going to continue to fight.
I've only got one good half of my face left. I need it.
I would say you can't do much more damage to his face. So,
Well, but after the fight, you guys, there's no animosity, and when you tap out, she basically, gives you a hand up and everything like that. So at the fight ends, you have a while before she has to fight again. So we're going to take it up from that point. So she's just giving you a hand up. The crowd is all celebrating the loss and the win, and you guys are kind of, being pushed out of the ring so they can get the next fighters in. So go ahead and start from there. Alan, what do you do?
Yeah, I would kind of like try to clean myself up just enough. Probably like, patting my eyes where like my brow's been split. Like, snot rocket some blood out of my nose. I'm gonna go over to her. I'm just gonna say, you hit like a jackhammer.
I
like
tried
a
to.
real precise jackhammer.
Well, I wanted to leave the pretty side pretty.
I appreciate that. I really do. What's got you down here in the pits? Young girl like you, surely you got something better to do.
No, I just lost my job. I figured I'd get some quick cash down here.
So you're looking for work then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You ever worked security before?
Yeah. You need surveillance or what?
So right now, I just need something in general speaking. Me and my brother, we've procured ourselves a ship, and we're trying to find a little work here, and Trying to grab a crew, put it together.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have somebody to kind of watch our backs out there versus a dangerous place.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That sounds good.
Well, you may have broken my nose, so I'm going to grab a drink, and I'm sure you'll win your next fight. When you do, come find me, and I'm going to point to Hank. That's my brother, Hank over there. You come chat us up. We'll see about figuring out something with means of pay and getting us all some jobs.
That sounds like a plan.
And I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold out. I'm gonna hold out my hand and say, Alan Parish.
Kelly Lane.
Absolute pleasure to meet you, Kelly.
And so,
And I'm gonna walk away. And as I turn away from her,
mhm.
only then do I like show how much she actually hurt me. I'm just like grabbing my jaw, just like son of
grabbing your jaw, putting your arm up against your
like,
ribs.
just oh my god.
Yeah, it's the usual thing after a really hard fight. You know, tomorrow you're gonna have real trouble moving.
It's gonna be a pain,
Yep.
literally.
So your brother's over at the bar still.
He's gonna walk up to me. I'm like, go ram it, brother. You look like a Fei P go. It's baboon's ass crack.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look at him and like spit out a bit more blood and say, "Good thing I got such a winning personality." Then
is that what you call it? Well, that's that. You know what? We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Speaking of my personality, I may have just solved our problems in the way of having somebody to watch our six.
Well, fantastic, because I know that your 12 keeps everything else away.
Hank, why you always gotta be so rude to me? In front of
I
all
love
my,
you, brother.
in front of all my friends, and I'm gonna gesture to absolutely no one that I know in the bar.
Yeah, no one's even paying attention to you. They're all
Not
watching the
even
next fight.
And I'm just gonna slug him in the shoulder, like not enough to like really hurt him, but like maybe like dead arm him just a little.
Yeah. I'm gonna dramatically, ow. You know, I thought if that's what she did to your face, well, then I can definitely see why you look even more beautiful than usual, brother.
How about you take them chicken arms and you go earn us some money in the pit yourself?
I'll stick to fixing the ships as I like adjust my belt with a bunch of tools all over it. I don't think you want these pretty hands messed up in the pit over there.
No, you got to keep the ship running.
That's right.
And,
Plus, somebody's got to be the looker in this relationship.
And I'm just gonna kind of like wince and like grab my jaw again, and I'm just gonna say, "Buy me a drink, damn it."
All right, 2 Rudder's milk.
All right, so that wraps up that scene. Lauren,
Yes,
you are definitely something the brothers would be needing. So you're a pilot, yes?
Yes.
We discussed some of your background outside the game.
Hmm.
Why are you out here now?
I've been hopping from job to job, planet to planet for a little bit, trying to avoid the Alliance as much as possible.
Okay.
So if I see that they are looking to hire a pilot and they are heading off of this planet to just about anywhere else, I would be very interested in that.
Gotcha. So, you guys are on the edge of Alliance territory. You're in New London, okay? So you are here because, and the reason you gotten this close is, I mean, you don't really have problems going in deeper. The only issue is there, your ship is registered loosely because the funds you use to
Right.
pick it up are not, weren't exactly well laundered.
No.
So you don't like going this close to where your registration is going to be heavily scrutinized. But you're here because you have a security officer now, and you have an engineer, and you're the captain, but you're still really light on crew. And the one thing you do not have is a real crack pilot. You guys can all three of you actually can technically fly. It's
Yeah.
you
Well,
can get
I've got a 6 in flying, so like I'm okay at it, but I know I'm not great at it.
yeah, and the rest
I have
of
an 8, so I basically have been flying it
Yeah.
since.
And keeping it running, but
Right.
he's better at keeping it running.
So you kind of sit down and basically are looking. Let the feelers be known through the grapevine that you guys are looking to hire a pilot long term, and you're basically, you're giving up a share for pilots. So you're in the pilot, doing the whole bit. Pilot gets their own bunk, yada yada yada. So you're and you're letting people know that you're not going to be running on the inner core worlds. You're running out in the fringes, trying to do milk runs and money runs out there. So you guys come in and you put out the feelers and you're sitting up in a pretty much a seedy dive bar where you've kind of put it stakes for right now. It's one of those seedy dive bar on bottom, flop house on top. So it's basically the usual place that people go to when they're trying to live on a budget and trying to stay out of sight. So Jude, you're actively looking, but you're trying to do it without drawing a lot of attention. And so because of that, you're learning the ropes of trying to operate under the Alliance radar. I mean, your previous experiences, you didn't have to really worry about this. So you finally you're using up like the last of your savings that you have, throwing out bribes and trying to get people's attention and trying to let people know what you're looking for and finding information to find it. You finally get directed by a contact who basically tells you, look, I'm not saying that everyone's going to want to work with you. He says, but you got skills and you got cred to throw around. So I'm going to give you one good solid piece of advice. He says, if you really want the hell out of here, you're going to end up signing up with some crew that's going to have issues too. And I think I know just a crew. He says, these boys are desperately looking for a pilot. He says they've been on planet for a few days now, and from what I understand, they put the word out pretty heavy. He says, I'm not saying that they're the they're the best option. They're a really new crew. He says, I don't even know if they've booked any work yet. He says, but I do know that the Parish brothers are throwing out the feelers and they're offering a good stake. So, and a stake is basically a percentage of all cuts from the ship. He says they're offering a good stake, and from what I understand, you get your own bunk. Which, trust me, on those fringer ships, that's a big thing. He says so. He says they're staying at the Speakeasy. He says you head down there and you ask for the Parish brothers. The bartender knows where to send you. And he says, I hope you get better luck.
That does sound like exactly what I need. I do thank you.
He's like, hey, you were throwing around the credit. I just gave you the info that was worth it. What you
I
do
go
with
ahead
it
and
is up to you.
I go ahead and nod and keep him in mind as a potential future contact. Just
Gotcha.
if this pays out, this might be some sort of contact I want to keep.
Right.
And then I start heading towards the speakeasy.
Gotcha. So, the Speakeasy is the name of a flop house, like I said, and a bar. And you get there, and there's the usual crowds. It's probably about a little bit after lunch, and there's the usual crowd of people who work in the area trying to just get something to eat real fast. And there's obviously the crowd of people who just pretty much live in this bar. So you get there and you walk in, and the bartender's like, you sidle up to the bar. The bartender kind of rolls up, and he's a older gentleman. He's got the usual halo around, and he's got some big thick glasses on, and he kind of like sidles up to you, and he says, "What do you have?"
Oh, some information first off, and I pull out just about last of my credits and surreptitiously slide it over. Parish Brothers.
He's like, he kind of like takes your credits, and he's like, he kind of looks you up and down. He's like, kind of puts his brother. He's like, he points to the back. He's like, there's a table back there in the corner. He's like, if they're not already slopped out of their socks, he's like, they'll be sitting back there with their heads together. He's like, one of them's a fitful sight. You'll be able to recognize him real quick. A huge man with like half a face. He's like, so once you find that, you found them. He's like, what are you drinking?
Bring on another round of whatever they're having. I'll have it over at the table.
Another round of swill. Gotcha.
I go ahead and wait for that to get ready, and then I grab that and head that on over to.
It's basically just
the
the tap beers.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts them on a tray and hands them to you.
Awesome. I take that and head on over to the table.
Right. So, Josh, you haven't really got. Josh H. You haven't really gotten to give you a good description of your character yet, physically.
Okay.
How's he looking again?
So Hank is he's about 6'2", comes from a tall family.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike his brother, he's about average, he's toned because he served, in the military. So PT in the morning is his way of getting ready. And then the rest of the day is elbow or shoulder deep in machine parts.
Right.
He's got messy brown hair, brown eyes. Usually has some sort of grease on his face. He does his best. Fix up a little bit when he comes into town. That usually means smearing the grease on his face with the dirty handkerchief. He usually wears a jumpsuit. Just an easy speed suit to hop in and out of. And yeah, so that's Hank. Oh yeah, he also always carries a tool belt on him, almost at all times. You never know when you're gonna need the right tool.
Gotcha. And then, and you already heard Josh's description of his character. So as you come walking up to the table,
I didn't go into super great detail about it. So I do my face is all like scarred up, but I do like wear so I'm bald, because like there are scars up along the top of my head as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's too much of a hassle to like grow patches of hair up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bald. I wear an eye patch over my right eye, just so that way people don't have to see it, and also so they don't stare. They already stare enough, but like if they saw my eye, it would be grosser. And like I'm pretty much just always dressed in just like some like fatigues and some boots, and I've either got just like a shirt with some suspenders on over it, or I've got a coat on over that. But like I've always got a 6-shooter on me. Like always got a 6-shooter.
Gotcha.
Like feel naked without it.
Understood. So You basically, that's what you see. You see as you're walking up to the table. Both of the men are. What's Lauren look? What's Jude look like? Height wise.
Fairly. She's fairly short, probably 5'3", 5'4".
Mm-hmm.
One of the things you do notice is, as Hank, you'd see this in particular, that sort of military PT physique that you mentioned, Jude also has this sort of well-muscled discipline that she carries herself with.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right, if you're walking up to us, or basically standing there holding drinks, I'm kind of look her up and down, take a drink, and scoot over. Be like, well, reckon she wants to talk to us.
I slide on in and I say, word around town is you two are looking for a pilot.
I figured from the outfit that it wasn't a waitress and that was your job, even though you brought us these drinks.
I just snort.
I'm going to reach for the drink, and I'm just going to, just down it. I'm chugging this, almost to a point of, blatantly avoiding talking to you about joining on the crew. And then I'll afterwards belch after that, a loud obnoxious one, and say, so pilot.
I'm gonna pat his belly. As you can tell, he ate the last one, but you're more of a toothpick, so you're not. You'll be fine.
Oh, you're sweet. I do see where the manners come from in the family. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Sorry, Hank Parish, at your service, and I give a little. But he's being joking, but he is you can tell he's sizing you up, and yeah.
I put my hand out for him to shake.
I'll shake it.
Both of them. It's a
I'll
firm
also
grip.
shake.
Nice. Firm grip. You can feel the calluses on my hands. I'm used to work.
Used to work.
That's a firm grip you got there. Calluses. You served, didn't you?
I certainly did.
Don't worry, I don't want to know. Yeah, I don't want to know what side he served for. None of my business. But if you're looking for us, well, not a whole lot of people looking for us.
Just one off of this go-around planet. If you got a ship out into the black, I'll do exactly the work you pay me for, and I'll do it well.
Where did you learn to fly?
Now, see, I thought you didn't want to ask any questions.
I mean, I said I didn't want to. I said I wasn't going to ask any questions.
I got references if that's what you need.
How long?
Last 2 years.
You ever been out there? I mean out there. Because that's where we're headed. Try not to stay too much in the cold.
That sounds just perfect. I ain't been out there yet.
Well, listen, brother. I mean, you know me. I'm not one to dance around on ceremony. It's either her or it's the guy who we can't tell is looking at us or the wall. All right, I'm just saying, prospects around here. She's about as good as we're gonna get. If she wants to get out of here, I reckon, we probably shouldn't ask too many questions about that.
You'll have to excuse my brother. He doesn't have a whole lot of manners when it comes to referring to my face.
I was talking about the other guy.
Now, my question is, if you're looking to get out of here as bad as we're looking to get out of here, you ain't gonna be bringing any trouble onto my ship, are you?
Absolutely not.
Does she pause? Does she pause like that?
A very brief pause.
So there's a large smile that just very slowly spreads across Alan's face. And he says, "It always does seem to find us, doesn't it?"
Part of the fun of being out in the black, isn't it? Take what life throws at you.
All right. Why not? Let's give it a shot. As long as you don't crash the thing. But if you scuff our ship, we are going to have to blow you out the airlock. And I nudge Hank, and I go, "Ain't that right?"
Yeah, you scuff Borealis, well, I mean, we're going to have some words. She ain't the finest ship in the verse, but she is, she's my baby. I'm taking care of her. And that's all I got to say about that.
She sounds like a fine lady.
Most beautiful
when do
girl
I
in
get
the
to go and meet her?
whole verse. When can you ship out?
I got everything I need right with me.
What are you carrying on you?
I have a small satchel that I have slung over my shoulder with a single change of clothes and all of my worldly goods and a little bit of cash, a little bit of just day-to-day toiletries, just what I need.
Not even a military travel duffel?
Nope.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Now that's hard on your luck, ladies and gentlemen.
I've got my goods. That's it.
So when you guys hear that and you basically look around and you don't see a other bag at all.
Yeah. I say, well, we can get to it then, before I wear out my welcome at another partner. And I'll stand up and is like Hank, have you finished your drink?
Yeah. I was just finishing it.
So I would look into your cup to see if you finished it and just go, nah. All right, well, welcome aboard. Let's go give you the grand tour. You can also meet Kelly.
Yes. Yeah. So there was one other thing I was going to say about that. So, because I took the signature asset, that's the borrowed medicine. So she would have taken a lot of stuff with her. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. They've
Oh,
got plenty here. I'm taking some of this with me.
Oh man.
Call that your platinum card.
Yeah.
You basically, you took what you had, you took all the money you had left in savings, and you got passage off world as fast as possible. Through some old service buddies, you got some contacts enough to get you a new name, which is well, you got an ident cred that'll get you off world safely and out of the core planets safely.
Mm-hmm.
You made it all the way out to the inner outer rim, and you basically ended up on a world called New Hope. It's a small world. It orbits around the yellow sun called Georgia.
Mhm.
It's mainly run by the Yellow Dragon clan, which is a organized crime syndicate. But they come around. They take taxes once a year, but they pretty much leave everyone to their own devices unless you have something they want. In which case, it's it varies to what degree they're willing to negotiate.
Mhm.
So you show up on New Hope. It's a mining mainly a mining planet. There's enough there's enough agriculture there to go to support the communities that live there. But for the most part, there's three different mining corporations that have mines set up on New Hope, and the majority of the people work the mines or work in service industries that cater to the people who work the mines, like tool
Mhm.
repairs, stuff like that. So you set up a clinic on one of the main cities on New Hope called Eden, and you basically are, trying to build out a clinic. You've been using the materials you stole very sparingly because they're
Mhm.
alliance coded.
Yeah.
Which means if you give someone one of these devices and they go through a security checkpoint and they go like, "Are you carrying anything you want to clear?" and they're like, "Well, I have my penicillin or whatever," and they scan it
Mhm.
through, it's going to come up as stolen.
Yep.
Okay? So you know that everything you use has to be kept in your thing and you have to dispose of the stuff yourself. Because if you
Mhm.
let even a wrapper get out of here, it could blow your cover. And even though you're way out here in the hills, the Alliance can eventually find wind of it because it'll get through the system. And you
Mhm.
know that because you worked in the core hospitals, and you know
Yeah.
that eventually things filter back. So,
Mhm.
boys, you guys are headed out of the core worlds, and you're getting ready to start actively looking for work now. You touched down on New Hope because you got a small gravy run, which was basically to bring a bunch of building materials and supplies to New Hope, to a small town called Eden. There's a bunch of homesteaders that are setting up out here, and they're looking to New Eden's looking to invest some capital in staking these people. So you basically land and you kind of drop off supplies. Um, right about that time that you're setting up, you're doing your delivery run. Harry, you're in your little clinic and you're
Mhm.
kind of like going about your daily business. You don't have anyone to see today, but you're like, inventorying and just getting everything, keeping everything ready. You haven't even gotten to the point where you've even hired anyone on. So you don't even have like a nurse or an assistant to run the desk or anything like that. So
Yeah.
the bell above the door chimes and a guy walks in and he has he just reeks smarm, you know? And he
Mhm.
comes kind of walking in and he looks at you and he says, it's like, "Hey, afternoon, doc." He's like, "And how's it been setting up shop out here?"
I'm doing all right.
He's like,
Can I help you with something?
he's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not sick or anything. I just came by because you're the doc in town, and I wanted to come by and make myself known." He's like, "My name is Reginald." He says, "And I am the local representative of your friendly yellow dragon clan." He's like, "And we heard that there is a fine new doctor, young doctor, coming in to set up shop in our neck of the woods. And we wanted to let you know how much we appreciate this." He said, "But of course, you know, young, well trained doctor showing up out of the blue with enough money to rent out a small shop ready to go, that raises some flags with us. So maybe, just maybe, you want to let us know what exactly you're doing here with all these free flying, free floating funds.
I'm just trying to help people. That's all I want to do.
Oh no, Doc, we're not telling you not to help people. We're not cruel, inhuman animals. Well, most of us. He says, what we're asking is, you're here and you got a lot of money and you don't seem to be worried about much on that regard. And we know that you're going to, you know the way of things out here. We know you're going to pay your tax and you're going to levy out everything. And that's going to be great. And we're all going to appreciate the funds you got coming in. But the one thing that the Yellow Dragon doesn't want is we don't want any undue attention. He says, and someone showing up, throwing out a lot of funds, and frankly, and he kind of holds up what looks to be a penicillin vial, and he's like, and he kind of tosses it to you, and you recognize it as one from your stash. And frankly, walking around with a bunch of Alliance marked medicine is something that really, really doesn't make us happy. So I'm here to deal you in the friendliest, politest way possible. Because, like I said, we're not monsters. But I'm here to let you know that you may want to clear out of town on the next ship.
Got it.
He says, and if I were you, I'd think about moving as far out as you possibly could.
I thought I'd gotten far enough, but I guess not.
He's like, there ain't no far enough sometimes, Doc. It's like, I hear there's a ship that just came into town, dropping off a milk run. He's like, I'm going to have some of my boys hold them up for a little bit. And let's just say you've booked passage. That sound mighty fine?
I don't really have a choice in this matter, do I?
We could take you out back and shoot you.
Yeah, I think I'll go.
Like, says, we appreciate everything you tried to do, Doc. We just can't afford that type of heat.
I understand.
He says, be safe in the black. And the guy just turns around and walks out.
Well, shit.
So, I'm assuming you're going to start packing up your shit?
Yes.
You hadn't even really gotten packed. So,
as fast as possible.
Yeah. Parish boys, you guys have finished your offload. You're getting refueled. Everything's getting ready to go. Lauren, you're doing your pre-flight because you know you're just touching down and taking right back off. Kelly, you're basically, you're pretty much just standing, providing cover outside the ship, looking around. You're in a port, so you shouldn't really be worried about what's going on. And you can see the port has security itself. But you are in the heart of Yellow Dragon territory, and it is not the safest place to be. So, you guys are sitting there, and as you're standing there, Kelly, 3 guys come walking up, and they are heavily tattooed. They're all clan symbols, and you recognize the symbol for the Yellow Dragon basically being predominantly displayed on a lot of bare shoulders and arms. Jessica, are you there?
Nah, I think she just dropped.
Oh. Hang on 1
Whoops.
second. You need a minute, baby? What's going on?
They were so scary, she ran and hid.
Oh, she's rebooting too. What was that, Josh?
I made an
It says
excellent
they're
call.
so scary, she ran and hid.
So I tell you what, Jessica's computer's rebooting, and I actually need a drink because I'm getting hoarse. So I'm going to give us our 10-minute break right now, guys, if that's okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a 10-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. I'm going to go give Jessica a hand with her computer, and I'm going to get myself something to drink so I can speak still. We will be back at 8:45.
but
We're live,
okay.
ladies and
We're
gentlemen.
live.
We're live.
Hey,
We're back. Thank you guys very much for your patience. You don't want to know what we talked about during the break. Ever.
No, you don't.
Ever.
You don't.
Ever.
You just don't.
Ever.
Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah. But anyway, back to what we were doing. Like I said, Kelly, you're outside the ship, just standing around, pretty much keeping watch. The hold doors are still open because you just did the offload, and the brothers are pretty much rearranging stuff in the hold. And you see these three gentlemen walk up, and they basically are, they kind of walk up to you, and they say, and one of them goes, "You're Captain Busy."
Is he?
He's always.
I mean, you're moving. They're moving crates in there and readjusting things after they got through with this delivery.
Yeah, Captain moves the shit himself. I have like farm boy build. I'm like unloading crates myself.
I'm unloading them. I'm helping.
I was kind of wondering why I wasn't.
Well, no, I mean I'm not when I say I'm unloading them myself, I don't mean like no one's helping me. I mean like I'm not paying someone to unload
Oh,
the stuff for me. Like,
So Captain's a farm boy and he's cheap.
no,
you're
that's kinda
Captain's not cheap. Captain's not cheap. Captain is looking out for his crew by getting them a bigger cut by not splitting more money off to pay somebody else to move the stuff off the ship.
So
He's very shrewd.
basically, they're not busy. They've already gotten the load delivered, and now just for purposes of balancing out the cargo hold and everything like that, they're rearranging what's left in the cargo hold.
Hey, Cat.
Eh.
This man wants to talk to you.
I'm gonna finish what I'm doing and come over and how well known is this gang? Like,
The
would
Yellow
even I
Dragons?
know?
They literally control almost the entire system. They don't control it like a government. There's
Right,
local
no,
governments and
no.
everything like that, but they are the
Yes,
main
they're-
crime
They're
syndicate.
the puppeteers. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a few
So, yeah,
planets. There's a few planets they don't have a stranglehold on, but basically most of the planets in the system are theirs.
I'd come up and say, hello, gentlemen.
And the guy kind of like, he says, "Captain, we need you to do us a favor. It's a small favor." He says, "But we'd appreciate it and would be willing to grant you safe passage if you took on a charter for us."
Good news, crew. Sounds like we got ourselves another job.
He's like, "We don't care much where you take her. Just get her off our planet and hopefully far out of our system."
Okay.
Sorry.
He's like, he says, "Yeah, she'll be showing up in a bit. She's busy gathering her things."
I pipe up. Oh, look there, Alan. You got yourself a girlfriend now. Just what you needed.
I roll my eye.
Aye. The one eye that still rolls.
Yeah.
He says, "Just one thing. She's gonna show up with a decent sized bag." He says, "I just got informed by the boss that that bag is forfeit. Services rendered unto she for letting her stay on our planet without a by our leave."
Well,
She'll know what we're talking about.
I guess we all just sit here and play the waiting game then, huh?
Oh, she'll be along shortly. He's like, "If you're ready to take off, continue your preparations. We'll make sure to hurry her along." We all good here, Captain?
Shiny.
Very nice. We appreciate your cooperation. You'll be welcome back in our systems. May even find you some work, depending on what you're comfortable with. He kind of nods to you.
Am I just taking her anywhere? Doesn't matter where.
He's like,
Out of the system.
You can take her as far as her money will take her, I guess. He says, we want her off New Hope.
All right. Well, I'm not in the business of upsetting illustrious organizations such as yours.
He chuckles. He says, you're a very smart man, Captain. We appreciate smart men.
Yeah, well, had to give up my looks for something else. Decided to take brains.
He's like, fair trade, I'd see.
I laugh in the background. Like, is that what you gave up? Oh, all right. That okay.
He says, the guy says,
unloading.
The guy says, we'll leave you on your way then. He's like, y'all have safe trip, wherever it take you. About this time, Kessie, Harry's got everything packed up, and you're kind of sitting there, and you're like trying to figure out. I mean, you need to head down to the spaceport to basically get a book a flight, but you're kind of like thumbing through all what credits you have left and trying to decide, what you're gonna be, how far you can afford to jump right now.
Yeah.
And it ain't a freaking long way. So you basically, you go up to the guy who was renting you out the stall space, kind of tossing the keys, and he kind of looks at you and he's like, "Oh man, I'm really sorry, Harry." He says, they came by right before they came in to see you, and said that you gotta go." He's like, I can't afford to make them mad." He says, they'll burn this whole freaking place down."
I understand. Just try and take care of yourself.
I will. He says, be careful out there. I don't know where you're going to go. These bastards. He kind of glares around. He's like, they control just about every single planet around here. I don't know where the hell you're going to go.
I'll figure something out.
He's like, be careful. Black's a scary place, especially to be alone. You sure you ain't got no family nowhere?
No.
Damn, girl. All right. So, just be careful, all right? I'm going to be worried sick. Send me a wave when you get somewhere safe.
I'll try and do that.
All right. And he's kind of like, you're walking off with your bag over your shoulder and your duffel bag with what you could take for your worldly possessions. And he's kind of just sitting there kneading his hands. And at the last minute, he's like, Harry. You kind of stop and look back. He's like, just don't let him know where you go, all right? He says, they know what you got, Harry. He's like, I'm sorry. He says, they make me look.
Yeah.
He's like, that's how I found it. When you were out shopping the other day, I went in and I looked through your things. He says, they don't want anything to do with it. He says, but they know what it's worth, Harry. I'm surprised they didn't try and take it from you then. I don't know what's going to happen. You just need to get the hell out of here, all right?
Yeah, working on it.
And he kind of like turns around. He starts walking back to to his little, basically shopping mall that you rented out a booth in. So you start heading to the port, and as you come walking up to the port, you see 3 guys are standing outside the port. And as you're walking up, one of them kind of pushes up off the wall, and he kind of like walks up to you, and he says, "So there's a ship inside called Borealis. The boss made sure it's gonna wait for you, like he said. You go have a safe trip, Doc Harry.
Got it.
Just remember, there's always a tax when you come through."
Understood.
All right. You say that. You just make sure you believe it. We can offer
And she's just
protection,
gonna.
but only when asked, Doc.
I understand. I made a mistake. I apologize for any trouble I caused. And I walk away.
You walk by him.
Yeah.
You kind of like, you get the feeling, you get that whole, the hairs on the back of your neck standing up feeling, someone staring at you as you're walking away. And
Yep.
you get that whole itch in the middle of your back.
Right.
And you hear it right as you're walking into the main hangar, the main entrance to the port. You hear his voice come out again. He says, "Like I said, you just pay your tax, and all this will be forgotten." And that's as you push in the door. You keep on heading in.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
So you quickly find where the Borealis is birthed, and you make your way over. This is a good time to take a few moments and discuss what the hell the Borealis is.
Hey.
So did you guys decide what you wanted to do with the ship? What type of jobs you want to do?
So, I liked the idea of us having kind of something in between transport and salvage.
Okay.
Um,
Transport and salvage?
that we would most likely take as a crew.
So something a little bit bigger than the Serenity,
I know.
but not as big as a full salvage ship.
No. We still want something that can move. We still want something that can boogie. But not something that's going to be, if we get a actual legit salvage job, we can still get a decent haul out of it.
Gotcha. So we're going to probably have to build a custom ship to get that, which is going to take some time. We're going to have to do it off camera. But I do have a good idea of what you're looking for now. So basically, you're going to get a ship that's probably about 50% bigger than what the Serenity was. And it's going to be designed with at least one external magnetic caliper, I should say. And that is basically used for, latching on to large objects that are being salvaged in space, or taking on large cargo and putting it into the hold. Like a crane, I guess you'd say. And other than that, it's going to have a toolbox inside in order to hang on one second. Baby, could you tell one of the kids to come, please? But it's going to have a toolbox inside in order to not toolbox, but tool sets, like a workstation for Hank, right? And that way he can have larger tools for breaking down other more larger pieces of salvage and making it easier to handle, both inside and outside the ship. It's going to have at least one shuttle. and it's going to have since it's such a large ship, it's actually going to have a decent area for like a crew to stay, and it's going to have a decent hold because the ships you break down, you're not necessarily going to take the whole, not just the ships. The salvage that you take in space, you're not going to take every single piece. You're going to break out the most expensive and valuable pieces, put those in the hold, and then let whatever derelict or whatever or you find, let it go back out into the black and move on. So, and then of course you can also do, like I said, because you have a decent sized hold, you can do milk runs where you actually take the ship out and use it actually just as cargo transport. So, does that sound like it meets the bill?
Yeah. So I kind of looked over the ships previously, and if we're gonna go custom, we can definitely do that. But the two that caught my eye were the what is it? It's the Kintsugi class salvage ship and the Viper class courier.
So an adaptation between those two.
Yeah. Although I feel like the salvage ship is a little closer to what we were just discussing. But it sounds like what we were discussing is more of a combination between the Kitsuki class salvage ship and the Polaris class cargo liner.
Where'd you see those ships at?
That's 215. Kitsugi's top right, and Polaris is at the bottom.
All right. Oh, there you go. Okay. So Kintsugi was one of the ones I was talking about. That is a big vessel. So,
right. So, which being large, like that's not necessarily what we want. Like maybe it's more the size of the cargo liner.
Right.
Mid-sized cargo liner, older model, slower speed, thickened hull, and then it's got the traits of useful cargo, where personal assets created while aboard the ship begin stepped up, and then spacious when using a location-based asset or other trait in your pool. Spend the plot point to step up or double that asset trait.
Okay. So, and is that the one you want to go with then?
I mean, that's I don't want to make the full decision here. I think between me and Hank, we would probably have pretty thoroughly discussed that, because I'm thinking more as the captain, I would be thinking more for what kind of jobs are we gonna get with this ship, and he would be thinking more the ship,
yeah,
the schematics of the ship.
Well, for Hank, the Polaris would be something he'd be pretty familiar with. It's a established model that's been around forever, and they basically are workhorses. They keep flying as long as you can keep on throwing parts in them to replace them. And that's the best thing about the Polaris, is it's a known commodity. You know what I mean? Systems are very reliable. She's not the most powerful beast in the world, but she's got it where it counts to get the freight off the ground. And the biggest thing, like you said, is space. She's got a lot of room. She holds a lot of cargo, especially for her size, because she's not a full size mega cargo liner. She is a mid-size cargo liner, but she can hold a lot for her size. So, and then the Kitsugi class salvage ship, that one doesn't have as much hold space, honestly, because it's designed literally to pin other ships to it. And then it dissembles those ships, and then it brings the like I said, it brings the survivable goods back with it. So,
right.
So basically, what you're going to see as you come into the hangar bay, Cassie or Harriet, is you see a large bulk cargo ship. You see that the hold is open. They're obviously gearing up. Their fuel lines are hooked up to the ship. It's obviously been set up and gotten ready for takeoff soon. as you come walking up, Hank, you're out walking around doing the last your visual inspections before you guys hit back off into the black, and you see Harriet coming up. I know you already get it once, but give us a quick description of Harriet again. Guessing.
Well, actually, I didn't. I don't think I ended up doing that at all.
Oh, okay.
She's average height. She's just like very average build. Like she was technically, military, but that was a while ago now, and she's been just working as a doctor. So, and then she's trying to make a decision about this. I've been thinking about this literally the whole time. She's got dark hair, and blue eyes, and
any distinguishing features?
No.
Gotcha. All right. So you see a woman walking up. Oh, and how does she dress normally?
Another very good question. God, I'm awful at this.
You can say, she keeps it casual.
Yeah, really casual. Because
is she practically dressed she's gonna be in a clinic? Like she's probably wearing free clothing that would be free
really
to move
move around.
Scrubs, basically.
Yeah, essentially. But well, you know what? Kind of like I do on a daily basis. She'd probably be wearing something similar to scrub pants, but instead of a scrub top, it'd be like a tank top or something. Mm-hmm. Just something that's a lot more comfortable and a little bit more freeing to move in.
Right. And so she basically, you said she has dark hair, but how long is it? Does she keep it cut short? Does she grow it out? Does she?
It'd be normally? Like shoulder. It'd be like shoulder length, but she keeps it up.
Okay.
To be out of the way.
And here's a good identifying trait. As she walks into the hangar bay and she sees the ship, she's obviously upset and everything like that. But what's the countenance on her face?
She's not necessarily. She's upset because obviously she wanted to try to stick around and help people and things like that. But she more seems a little annoyed than anything else. That she thought she had gotten things sorted out finally, and then it all kind of fell apart on her. So she's more annoyed than anything else right now.
Gotcha.
And just ready to get out of here because she can feel how unwanted she is.
Gotcha. So Hank, you see this young woman walking up to the ship. You weren't really given a description, but you guys were told that she'd be there soon. Alan's up basically handling the last of the items with the ship, the dockmaster, and
grumbling the whole time.
Yeah, grumbling the whole time. And Kelly, you see her coming up at the same time. It's Harriet basically walking up the ship, and she's kind of stomping up the gang, not the gangplank, but the ship's hatch as she comes walking up into the hold. What do you say or do, Harriet?
I'll just be like, howdy, you must be the cargo.
This is the Borealis, I'm assuming?
Yeah, this is her in all her glory.
Wonderful. When do we leave?
As soon as you get your keister in here, we'll batten down the hatches. I'll get old Captain over there, get his waddly butt over here, and we'll get on out of here. But did I hear anything about her having to leave the thing, or is that just
were you eavesdropping on the conversation, or
not really?
Okay, then
I just heard something about they were talking about she this, she that, and that's why I was like, oh, Captain's getting a girlfriend. But other than that, I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay, so yeah, you didn't hear anything about that.
Yep. Be like, all right, just get your keister in there. Set your things down wherever. We'll find a place for you, and we'll get going. As I'm wiping my hands on my face with my dirty cloth, and hold out my hand. Hank Parish, at your service.
She'll shake your hand, and then she's kind of like looks, make sure there's no dirt on it, kind of wipes it off like on her pants a little. Nice to meet you. I'm Harry.
Pleasure. All right. Well, let's get in there and we'll get going.
So, about this time, Alan, you finished up with the wharf master, or the dock master, pretty much just paying the fees and for the fuel and everything like that. You guys are getting to that point. This last run got you refilled, restocked, but you need funds. So maybe a paying passenger isn't such a bad thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna approach her.
I'm assuming, Hank, you took her up to basically the common rooms upstairs where all the berths are.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where you find her.
No, actually, you know what? I was like, yeah, let's go on in, and I'm just still doing my thing.
Gotcha. Kelly, you gonna escort her up to the common room? All right. So Kelly has her has brought her up to the common room, and so I'm assuming, Kelly, you're gonna show her to a berth or something like that, show her where she can stash her stuff. All right. So
Is this really all you have?
I mean, she would have a
She's got
bag.
a big ass bag. Yeah.
Yeah, that has all the medical supplies in it. And then she probably would have like her own bag as well, like that has her own personal belongings in it. I would think.
Yeah, she basically has
she tries
one
to keep
bag
those...
that's obviously clothes and stuff like that, and another bag that kind of jingles and jangles.
Yeah, love it.
It's none of my business.
Okay. So, Alan, you come into the main room just as Kelly's told her which berth is hers and everything like that, and she seems to be heading in there to stash her gear. So, what do you do?
I'm going to kind of stand at the doorway and just kind of knock. I'm going to say, I'm afraid I gotta ask, just right out the gate. What'd you do? Get these fine folk all riled up.
I didn't ask permission to be here. Is the simplest way to put it.
You ain't got the look of a person that spent a lot of time outside of the core.
I used to stay around there, but wasn't really my scene anymore. I'm a doctor and I like to help people, and I felt like I wasn't doing a whole lot of that. So I decided to move on.
Is what's in that bag gonna follow you?
Not if I'm careful.
Well, where are we going?
Wherever gets me farther away from anywhere that seems important.
I take it they didn't exactly tell you how we would be operating on professional. Just that we'd be taking you somewhere.
Yeah.
These men made it mighty clear that I was to get you out of the system. And as soon as possible. And they made it very clear that you would be paying us to do so. However, if they were forcing you out, I get the feeling that you ain't exactly strapped with cash right
No, not exactly. What I have in this bag, though, can definitely help in that regards.
So I would like to look around and make sure that, the crew isn't doing a big old eavesdrops. I would say, what's in the bag?
Okay. I don't want to lie to you because I'm on your ship and I don't want to cause any more problems than I've already caused for myself and or anyone else.
I appreciate that.
Where I was not my ideal situation. I wanted to do more for more people. And when I was asked to leave my position, I decided that, they had some stuff that they could spare. And I took it with me.
And stuff is
Medical supplies. As much as I could
Med-
safely get it out. As much as I could safely get out.
You steal that from the Alliance?
Yes.
I'm going out on a limb. I'm gonna guess you ain't that fond of the Alliance then.
Not entirely.
Welcome aboard, Doc. And
Thank
I'll
you.
reach out to shake your hand, um, and I'll say, I don't know if we're gonna be able to unload any of that. It might be a little too hot. But I'll tell you what. You pay your way by patching up me and my crew. You got a home.
That might actually be the best situation for me. I think I'll take that deal.
Now, if you'd be so kind as to hide the fuck out of that bag, it would be absolutely fine and dandy.
Got it. Whoa. Sorry.
But, don't mind the engines. They're real.
I don't hear anything actually.
Man, I'm hearing
Yeah,
like all
me and
kinds
him
of, like,
both. Okay,
I am
it's not
hearing
just us. Okay.
it was like a loud.
Yeah, we hear it
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just the engines kicking off.
One of your neighbors got a big ass truck.
Sorry.
That's all right. All right.
Man. Okay.
So-
Okay. So I'm gonna ask him though. Do you have anywhere specific that you want me to? Is there a specific location on the ship where this will be safe?
So, I would say that, like, being that Alan has taken in his past some like unsavory jobs, he would probably have either tried to get a ship that has like a little hidey hole for the times where I gotta transport stuff that is not quite on the up and up, or he would have had Hank like make one. And I'd probably say that it is like I'd say it's probably under. It's probably like under the like the actual cabin where like the pilot would be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be like it would essentially be like if you gotta climb some stairs to get up there, it'd be like kind of underneath those stairs.
Gotcha. So basically, just a bolt hole, a hidey hole to put throw stuff in.
Right.
You're not looking to smuggle a big bunch of goods, but if you got to smuggle something, you can throw it in there.
I'd say you could probably fit like a couple people in there, like 3 or 4 people. Like it wouldn't be enough to like. It obviously wouldn't be enough to like put a whole bunch of crates in there, but like you could stash a reasonable sized thing in there, or a couple of small things, or
Right. No problem.
Are you planning on stashing bodies?
So I have survived a Reaver attack, which I will mention several times throughout this campaign. So if we ever are boarded, I want a spot where I can put people in, so that way they are not victimized.
These 3 get to survive. The rest of us are gonna die.
Yeah, like basically it would be like, hey, I'm gonna put my brother and like the pilot and like maybe 2 other people, like squeeze them in there, so that way the ship can at least survive afterwards. And then like everyone else, it's basically like, hey, shoot as much as you can. If they try to take it, don't let them get you alive.
Shoot as much as you can, but save 1 round.
Yeah, save 1 round.
Right.
Save 1 for yourself. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, that's Reavers. Real quick, Jonathan, why would a bona fide companion be out here?
I'm actually trying to get out of the core.
Okay.
So, is here still in the?
No, we're well outside the core now.
No, that's what I'm saying. Are we still on the same planet where the dock is?
No, we're not. Once they got the dock and got her off planet, the nearest non-Yellow Dragon held planets were over in a dual sun system. It is basically 2 suns. One's called Pengali and one's called Kalidasa. There's quite a plethora of planets out there, but the nearest one, basically via jump, is going to be a planet called Ghost.
Okay.
Ghost is an actual different variation on mining. Ghost is a gas giant, and it has a large spaceport outside of it. And the spaceport caters to the gas miners, who basically are ships that go down and they pretty much troll through the exotic gases, and they basically catch in what's called a Bassard's ramjet a bunch of the material, and then filter it down into containment units, and then bring those units back, and then they resell them up. It's an insanely dangerous job, and so the people out here, they're pretty much crazy.
Okay. Well, I probably took a job on the spaceport with a client who is probably running or part owning the facility, because they're the ones that are going to have the money.
Yes, absolutely. And so you basically got out this far because why are you out this far though? That's kind of my main question.
Okay, I'm guessing you did not read my backstory and everything.
I have not had time, Jonathan.
No, I didn't know if you were playing coy or if you just actually hadn't read it.
Okay. So is there stuff you don't want to reveal yet? Because I'm going to read it tonight.
Yeah,
but, okay. All right.
Yeah,
so you're out here for your own.
I'm not in trouble. I don't want to be in the core systems anymore.
Gotcha. So you've gotten all the way out here basically on good looks, charm, and the money you had left in your accounts. You've been taking clients as they come in order to further your trip. But you've kind of hit up on a roadblock here. The client on Ghost was when you were referred to him or had him referred to you. because he went through the Companions Guild to get a referral, and there's usually not companions this far out. So he basically was saying, said all the right things, was very eloquent, very well spoken. Once you got out there, everything was fine. He was, the client was very, very cordial, but it became very apparent that when you got time for your time with them to end, that they kept on saying, well, can't you stay a little longer? He said, I'd rarely ever get to spend time with someone that I can actually talk to, and I'm very willing to extend your stay. He says, but of course you're looking to keep moving, but they were becoming more and more adamant. So you put out a wave looking for transport off. You guys are basically, you're out in the middle of effing nowhere. You're far out, and you basically are looking to pick up a job anywhere. You're putting out the feelers. There has been no real work yet to speak of, and then out of nowhere, this wave comes out that there is a registered companion looking for emergency transport off of this space station orbiting around this gas giant called Ghost. And so you guys, and that's in the Kalidasa system. And so you guys are not too far off. It won't be a big burn on fuel, and it's a registered companion. If you can get a registered companion on board, their service fees usually are enough to where you can just jump them around from place to place, make a good living, and finding jobs relatively near where the companion is going means you can just double your money.
Yeah, like immediately, like the second that comes across my desk, essentially, I'm like,
you pounce on it.
I would immediately be like, all right, cancel plans. We are doing this now.
All right. Well, that's just it. You didn't really have any plans.
Yeah. No, I know, and I would still say that anyways.
So you guys, you're responding back. It's a wave that goes out. So Jonathan, you're sitting there, and you're pretty much you've pretty much locked yourself in your room for the most part, and you're waiting for someone to respond back to your wave. And finally, a hail comes in. So go ahead and give me your message that you would have sent back, Alan.
So what's the message itself that I'm getting? Is it just like need emergency? Like it's just constant? It's like
I'm assuming
I am.
I'm assuming that Baden wouldn't have been able to had the time, because he's basically being hounded all the time by either the client or the client's people. So he would have sent a text wave out. But it does have.
I would have said companion, immediate transport off Ghost.
Yeah, and it does say registered companion, and you do know that, and no one can actually sit there and go and call themselves a registered companion unless they are actually registered with the guild. It's
right.
It's not good to do that. The fines alone are bad enough, but if you claim to be a registered companion and it's found to be not true, you can be bound by law because it is literally illegal to do so.
Then I would send a message down. I would say, this is Captain Alan Parish of the Borealis. Give us coordinates. We will pick you up. Yeah, basically, just like, yeah, I would basically be that would be the long and short of it. Just like, tell us where to pick you up, and we are good to go.
So you throw out you throw out your coordinates.
So I'm going to throw out the coordinates for the station in general.
Right.
And then it will say follow-up coordinates provided when you arrive, like when you dock. I'm just a little concerned that he's going to get the messages too.
Yep. Understood. So you guys get the coordinates. You make the changes to course corrections. You're actually to Ghost within a day So you basically get to Ghost, and like I said, it is a lot like it's a very large space station because it's also a processing station that takes care of all the processing of the exotic gases that are mined from Ghost itself. So it is a huge space station, huge processing station, and as you come in, you're given clearance to dock, and you guys come in and land the ship. And at that point, you were supposed to give Baden another wave to let him know you've arrived.
Yeah, I would do so.
So this time,
and I would tell I would tell Kelly to suit up and like I was like I would say like we don't I would say like don't don't like go all out on this. Just we might need if things go a little south, just maybe keep a little something on here.
All I needed to hear was companion and emergency, and I'm on this shit.
So Jude, when you guys come in, one thing you notice is the space station.
The dock.
I'm sorry.
If there's an emergency with a companion, we might need the dock. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd ask the doc if she, I'd ask Harry like, you up for this?
Sure.
Take a little stroll.
Yeah.
And then I would tell. So you're gonna have to remind me one more time. Did you say Jude or June?
Lauren is character's name is Jude.
Jude. All right.
Like the Beatles
So
song.
I would, yeah. So I would before leaving, I'd be like, keep the engines running for me, and maybe just be ready for a quick getaway, at least as quick as we can manage in this.
Sure thing, Cap. We'll keep her hot.
Appreciate you.
All right. So
And as I'm walking out, I would say, I'm gonna get you real rich.
What'd you say?
I'm gonna get you real rich.
Yeah. You're the ambitious one, brother. I just make sure this bucket of bolts gets us from point A to point B, and then I I rub the wall. Oh, I'm just kidding, Borealis. I didn't mean that.
Good news, Hank. It's a registered companion, so now we finally got you a girlfriend.
Well,
And I'm gonna turn and walk out.
I'm gonna be like, what? You know what?
Because all we know is this registered companion. We don't know that. We don't know.
it was a
his
text
job, right?
wave,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Okay.
All right. So Jonathan, Baden gets the wave that the ship is at the docks.
Okay. I will send my coordinates. Just to be clear, though, Ray, with this guy, I would have been very upfront with him since the beginning that I have a rule that I don't stay more than 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, like, when he's being persistent. But as long as he doesn't cross any crazy lines, I'm not going to try to do anything that would be considered like a threat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard rule for my character, no more than 3 days.
Okay.
And so if he really pushes it bad, which I don't think he's done yet, but if he really got to an extreme place, I would politely remind him that I'm willing to return in future dates, but that if he violates the code of conduct with the Companions Guild, he's going to have a hard time getting any companion.
Gotcha.
Does it make sense? Like,
No,
I'm very
I understand what you're saying.
in a very polite way, but
Yeah. The biggest thing about the situation is he is not being like. He's being very polite.
he's just needy.
Yes. And you can tell.
He's clingy.
Well, from everything that you've said, and you've talked to him about, you can tell that he feels very isolated. Everyone out here is his employee, and he does not feel like he has anyone he can talk to. and he was literally desperate for just someone to relate to.
Yeah. Which
But-
unfortunately I'm very good at doing.
Yes.
He's not trying to like pretty woman you.
Maybe a little.
They won't be woman you. What are you talking about? That's like every job.
That's like every job. I come in, they shower me with gifts, then I leave.
Oh, look in the box.
my daddy's rich. I could pay for you to stay with me forever.
That's kind of what he's doing too. You know, I am. He says this could become a permanent situation. He says I have the means. There is no need to rush off. But yeah, so you basically you have the coordinates. You give the coordinates for your location. You're in a small apartment that's on his on his. I would call it an estate, but it's just a portion of the space station.
Yeah.
So you'd have to literally leave by going through his private residence, and they couldn't get to you because they can't get past his security. So what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go meet them at the coordinates I sent them.
Okay. So you come out of your room. You walk through the house. You're headed towards the exit. As you get to the exit, when you step out the door, there is security right outside the door, and they basically say, "Look at you," and the guy, one of them looks at you and says, "Do you need some help finding something, sir? Can we go get you anything?"
Yes, actually, I would love an escort to go down towards the market area.
He's like, well, "We can go fetch you whatever you need from the market. There's no need for you to go out and trouble yourself, sir. Just let us know what you need."
I actually prefer to pick my own things out.
He's like, "Oh, we understand. We're always worried about security on the station, sir. The Lord has workers who are sometimes less than satisfied with their situation, and sometimes they take it out on the staff. So we don't want you to suffer any ill effects."
Well, luckily, I'm not technically staff, and I'm sure that you're a qualified security guard that's more than capable of dealing with anything that's here on the station. Otherwise, you wouldn't have your position.
"Well, of course, sir." He says, I will. Marco will escort you." And he gestures
Thank
to the
you.
other guy, and the guy kind of looks at him and looks at you, and he kind of shrugs his shoulders. He's like, "After you."
I will begin walking to the market.
So you start heading down to the market, and it basically you get down to the market area, and it's kind of like it's in a large promenade area that has like glass domed air roof that looks out onto the gas giant. So it's like a really pretty view, and this is a pretty small market, but it's packed with people. And there's because this is where all the like if there's any fresh commerce or produce that comes in, this is where it's sold at. And so that's one of the biggest commodities that moves through here, because fresh food is one of the hardest things to get on this space station. You know what I mean? They're mainly eating synthetic block food, which is protein bars and stuff like that, and it'll keep them alive, but doesn't make them happy. So like a basket of strawberries can go for like 3 months' wages. So you guys head up. You guys are coming into this market area. Marco is kind of trailing you, Baden. He's obviously keeping you in sight, but he's not really being overbearing or trying to make his presence really out there. You know what I mean? So what are you gonna do? You don't know what the crew looks like, and they don't know what you look like. So how are you going to identify yourself to them? And how are you going to identify them?
I'm
I'm wearing a Borealis security jacket.
You guys have branded
I am
stuff?
going to
Oh yeah, club jacket. So you get it as soon as you step on the ship.
Cool.
Ooh.
Holy shit!
Look at
Where's
the
my
correct
Borealis?
connections that I actually have a specific connection with them. I'm going to send a message that says, in market, where are you? How will I know who you are?
If you know the name of the ship, look for the jacket that says Borealis. Security.
So if he said when he sends that to me,
Yes.
I would say I have a distinctive face.
I'm going to respond immediately. Mining community, everyone has distinctive faces.
So about that time, you're walking through the market, and you see a lumbering giant of a man who has one half of his face that looks like maybe someone tried to take a chainsaw to it. A dull chainsaw.
Really?
Ow.
Several dull chainsaws.
Several dull chainsaws. It's a pretty distinctive face.
It's like that meme. He's the little white girl on the couch, and everybody behind him is holding dull chainsaws.
I'm going to walk up to him, and I'm going to politely ask, excuse me, you look like you belong in this mining community. I was looking for someone around here that has a distinctive face.
So I'm gonna kind of like look dumbfounded.
And I'm not even making fun of him. Like, it's a legitimate question.
No, like I look dumbfounded because like I just said distinctive face, and now someone's walking up to me, distinctive face.
Jonathan, what does
I'm
your
gonna
character
say-
look like?
So
yeah.
my character is about 21. He looks a little young. He's got kind of like a dark brown hair, but he's got extremely light blue piercing eyes and some slightly angular features to his face, but he's pretty clean cut.
How's he dressed?
He doesn't dress ridiculously fancy, like not over the top, but he is well dressed. But it's sort of like fashion comfortable, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be fashion chic, but to be like fashion comfortable.
Gotcha. All right, so go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would just kind of look at him dumbfounded, and just say, you ain't exactly what I was expecting. You want to send out the message?
About that time, this guy comes up, and from his bearing and the fact that there is a holstered pistol on his hip and a badge of the company logo on his jacket on his chest, he goes walking up and he says, Baden, what was your last name?
Larkin.
Larkin. He says, Mr. Larkin, these people bothering you?
Oh, no, sir, not at all.
He says, perhaps it's time we head back, sir. Did you find what you needed?
I did. Actually, though, I won't be heading back. I have another client. I'll be letting, what was the client's name?
Manuel Malcolm.
I'll be letting Mr. Malcolm know.
He says, he kind of stops, and he kind of looks around, and he looks at you guys all standing in a group, because now, like, you guys have all stopped, and he stops, and he kind of looks at you all, and you can see he's doing math slowly, and he kind of says, did Mr. Malcolm know about this?
Well, this is a situation that just came up, but Mr. Malcolm has known for days that I have a policy of not staying for longer than 3. Since the beginning, when the arrangement was originally made. Mr. Malcolm also knows that if you were to cause trouble here, if you were to try to keep me against my will, whether it was his actions or yours, that he will be permanently blacklisted from the Companions Guild, and you will have cut him off permanently from me ever returning or him being able to hire any other companions. I believe that would likely cost you your job, possibly other consequences as well, but ultimately it's your choice. You can do as you wish.
He kind of stops and he kind of puts up his hands. He's like, no. I'm not causing any problems. I just want to ensure that these are the people you want to leave with. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, and I'm going to go shake his hand. I appreciate you walking me here safely and securely, and I'm sure that Mr. Malcolm will appreciate it as well. I will be contacting him as soon as we have departed the station to wish him well and let him know that if he wants to hire me in the future, he may. But again, the 3-day policy will be in effect. And I can give him some references for some other companions that may be able to join him in the meantime.
He kind of like he's nodding with each sentence you say, and he's like, I will let him know, sir, and may you have a safe trip.
Thank you.
And he kind of he just spins on a heel and he starts quickly walking away. And you see him he kind of pulls down one sleeve and he starts just talking into his wrist.
We'll see whether or not he actually lets us off the station and whether or not he gets blacklisted. But I'd recommend we start moving to the ship.
I'm right this way.
so you guys spin on a heel and start hightailing it back for the ship?
Yeah, I'm laughing to myself pretty much the whole way there. just I'll turn to our new companion and say, man, when you said emergency, I thought maybe we might have to come in there and crack some skulls, but you really blew his Goram face off just by talking at him.
It's what I do. Well, one of the many things I do.
So you guys make it back to the dock. Jude, you're up in the cockpit, keeping everything hot, and you can see them coming. So you start the pre-flight the moment you see them walking into the hangar area. As you're starting the pre-flight, you get a wave from the dock the dock commander, and it's basically he comes over and he says, Borealis, you are not clear to take off at this time. Please apply for. Please resubmit your coordinates for departure. And you know that when you originally came in, you already had submitted coordinates for departure, and you had set the time as a variable. You knew you were going to check in with them because they're coordinating other ships coming and going too. But you've already done everything that's required. All you really had to do is check in and make sure you had clearance to leave. So this is not part of normal procedure.
All right. Do I see about how far out, how long it's going to take them to get back to the ship?
Oh no, they're running up to the ship now. They're coming on board right now.
Oh, awesome. I grabbed something to text back with the audio signal is cutting out. Can't quite understand. Please repeat message.
So after a moment, a text message comes over the wave, and it basically repeats the exact same phrase.
Okay.
It comes over audio too, but they send it both ways.
Yeah, I kind of ignore the audio. I stall them as long as I can. Waiting for the captain to get back, seeing if we can't get clearance. Get everybody on board.
Gotcha. Oh, everyone, yeah, Captain, you guys come running up, and you get up into the ship. You seal off the airlock, and you're all aboard. You basically pound the comm and tell the pilot to get on.
I was going to say I buzz her the second that the door is closing.
Yep.
And I say, Jude, I think we'd worn out our welcome here. I think it's time for us to get going.
Okay. So I go ahead and disengage from the dock and fixing to head on out.
The ship doesn't disengage.
No.
You've been landlocked.
Captain, we got some issues.
So when she says that, I just go, "Shin down, mate," and I'm gonna fucking head up there to the cockpit and see what's going on.
Hank, you feel the notable lurch of something very distinctive. The ship tries to leave dock, and the port clamps are not releasing. So you feel that jarring lurch of the ship trying to move and being prevented. And you also know there's really two reasons for that: major malfunction in the clamps, or you're landlocked.
Like, oh god damn it! Go ram it! What did Alan do this time? Like in the engines and just like wiping my hands, just like kind of make my way towards the cockpit.
Gotcha. All right, so you guys are all up in the cockpit. The cockpit is basically an arrangement with 2 control panels, and basically there's a small comm station at the back that that can be utilized by a third person, and then there is the ladder that comes up into the cockpit is at the back of the cockpit, and it's really hard for like 4 or 5 people to stand in this cockpit. It's very crowded. It's only meant to seat 2 people, really.
Why haven't we left?
There seems to be some trouble with
Or
heading
specifically?
on out.
They're not letting us go.
Nope.
I'm going to head to the tertiary communications panel.
Yep.
And I'm going to send out a text message to Malcolm, Mr. Malcolm. And I'm going to copy the message to the Companions Guild. And it's going to say, "Dear Mr. Malcolm, while I appreciate the time that we agreed to, I had made it very clear in the beginning that the maximum amount of time I would stay is 3 days. While I appreciate your offers for continued services, I have multiple times requested to be able to leave the station, and currently we are experiencing a mechanical malfunction with your docking clamps. I would greatly appreciate it if you could resolve that mechanical issue quickly, as I would hate for this to be misperceived as me being held hostage and not the mechanical error that it surely must be." Send.
After about 2 really long minutes, there is a wave from the dock master, and you hear the wave. It comes over. It's like, Borealis, we apologize for the delay. We have found your release coordinates. He says, we apologize for that. They seem to have gotten lost in the shuffle. You are clear to take off. The clamps have been released.
I go ahead and come on comms and apologize most sincerely for the communication difficulties on our end. We thank you for those release coordinates, and I fire it up and head on out.
Yep. Disengage and take off.
At the ass end of that wave, I'm just like, yeah, you damn Wang Bao Don. Which means you dirty bastards.
So you guys take off into the black, and pretty much, Mr. Baden, you probably want to make introductions to yourself to the crew.
So at this point, I've seen 3 of them. All right. Thank you very much for getting me off of that station. I appreciate it. Where are we headed?
I assumed that you had somewhere in mind, being a registered companion.
It's a little difficult to set up your next job when you have no idea when you're going to be able to leave.
You know, that's fair.
Does that happen often?
Somebody decides that they want to take you out of the life and keep you forever, yes. Somebody actually physically trying to keep you forever, not as often. This would be a first for me. But, you know, I mean, I'm not that old. I haven't been companioning that long.
Now, everyone's heard that there are male companions, but they are a bit of a novelty. And it's actually rare enough for anyone to see or meet a companion, but let alone a male companion. So this is unique.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, howdy, I'm Hank. You must be the girlfriend that our captain mentioned, and I'm just gonna like smirk at him.
I'm
Pleasure
going
to
to
meet
shake
you.
Hank's hand, and I'm going to say, it's nice to meet you, Hank. I didn't realize your family had that much money, but it's an honor.
Oh, the captain just gets a little confused with his pronouns sometimes. But I assure you, our intentions are of the utmost pure when it comes to the people on this ship.
So I'm gonna elbow Kelly, and I'm just gonna lean over to her, and I'm gonna say, "Look, 2 peas in a pod already."
I'm going to turn towards the captain and say, 3 peas in a pod is not something that I'm up for. And then I'm going to just kind of like silently walk off the bridge.
And with that, I'm just gonna kind of like clear my throat, and I'm gonna say, "Jude, let's burn sky."
All right.
Hi, Cap.
All
Don't
right.
mind giving me a little bit of a elbow room up here, and I.
Yep. Heading out.
All right. So as you guys burn off the space, this whole entire scene, all these scenes of the crew took place about 3 months ago. Since that time, both Baden getting clients and you guys finding work have taken you all across the verse. You've done jobs mainly in the outer rims, staying clear of the core worlds. Baden.
Yeah, it's just a quality kind of switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a new one, I think.
Whoa.
But that's
Ray's headset is the engines.
my headset is
Yeah.
the engines. Oh
That's what it
boy,
was.
That's
But-
what the episode is called.
his headset is the engines. But the you guys have been running back and forth across the verse. Finally, after like 3 or 4 months, you get back in the same area where you originally picked up Harry. And as you're coming in, you get a wave in the system, and you see a guy on screen, and he says, Captain Parish, this is Reginald. I do believe you may have forgotten some items that were supposed to have been left at a certain spaceport before you took a passenger on for us. We would appreciate if you could make arrangements to settle this situation as quickly as possible. We would absolutely hate for this to escalate into something frightfully ugly. Send a wave back when you're ready to talk, or you decide whether you're running or not. And the wave cuts out.
Where are we when they sent this? I know they sent it to the cat, but I'm just asking, where are we when they sent it?
You are basically coming into what was the name of that system? Shit. There it is. You are coming into the Georgia system.
So,
Oh, Jesus.
I imagine that like when we're traveling, um, like I would be in the two-person cockpit with Jude, um, and like when she needs like a little break, like I can, like I'm okay at flying. I'm not as
Well-
good as her, but like
There is
but
autopilot.
but also like I would say I think that like Captain would be remiss to not be like on the bridge when entering a new system. And I would turn. So would this be something that would be sent to me directly, or would this be something that like we would hear?
It would come
over.
It would come over. A notification would come over comms that there is a message. Whoever is at comms, and that's be the main comms on the deck, not the general ship comms. The main comms of the deck would be able to see who the message is directed to, and if it's directed to someone in particular, it hasn't. It's basically keyed to your ID chit. So you have to be able to present your ID chit in order to access the message. So it's basically encrypted.
So would this be something that like the whole ship is hearing essentially, or would this be something that like I am hearing?
No, Jude will be able to call you over your private comms, and you could either take the call in your room, or you could take the call.
I'd take the call in the cockpit.
Okay.
And yeah, I'd probably turn to Jude and I would just say, well, you think he made that ugly comment as a slight against my face?
I don't know, Cap. I wouldn't call you that ugly.
Dude, you're sweet. You're wrong, but you're sweet.
Does that sweetness get me first dinner tonight?
I'll tell you what, you feel up to doing a little maneuvering, I'll make sure you get first dinner for the next month.
Captain, that is a deal.
And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get on comms and I'm gonna be like, "It's your captain speaking. So it would appear that a couple of gony young, I'm gonna fuck this up. Gony young want to start a fight with us, and I don't really feel like giving up anything that we have here that is rightfully ours. So I would ask you would kindly brace yourselves and hold on to something real tight because things are going to get a little rocky."
You can kind of hear. I'll message back. Go ram it. All right, let me get her ready.
And I'm going to send these guys some meeting coordinates at the nearest planet. That with the message that just says, "Sorry for the miscommunication and misunderstanding. We will straighten things out here." And then instead, gonna tell Jude to get us the hell out of here. And I'm gonna hope that like they will at least like with that like start to like head that way, and then we can break off and try to boogie.
Gotcha. All right, so that is the perfect place to end this evening.
Oh man.
So we have not even rolled a single dice yet.
Not yet.
but we're probably going to be doing some of that next time. So we're going to be going over when we start the actual, when we stop doing the cutbacks and we start getting into the gameplay, we're going to be using this as a way to kind of demo the Cortex system as well for you guys, because we're all going to have to learn it. So it's going to be it's a different system than you guys are used to, especially if you guys have watched almost exclusively Roll20 or D20 or 5e, I should say. This system is a lot different in the fact that it is going to be very, very mechanically heavy on dice, because I have to roll dice to create the target number, and then they have to roll dice to try and beat that target number. And there's all kinds of stipulations within the dice roll. Like, if they beat my target number by 5 or more, something extra happens. If they miss my target number by 5 or more, something extra bad happens. So and there's all kinds of mechanics in that. If you roll a 1 on any dice in your dice pool, you end up with something called a jinx. And a jinx means even if you succeed in the rolls and end up raising the stakes and beating my target number, what ends up happening is something is still going to go wrong somewhere. So
we're getting a reminder that we forgot to plug a store.
Oh yes, thank you very much. But we will do that on the way out. So, but we'll like I said, this is going to be the first game is going to be a very big learning game for us, and so that will be taking place next Friday. But for now, let's go ahead and take care of some other business, because we also forgot to do some announcements. As Meg has been incredibly marvelous at doing, we are running 2 contests right now. The first contest is to get us to 7,000 followers on Facebook. That is 7K. I cannot believe we have 7,000 followers.
Oh my God.
So we are
not yet. Give me a minute.
Close to.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. But we are doing a giveaway,
close.
and I am giving away a set of minis. If you see in the center of the screen, you have that little scrolling picture that keeps on flashing oddly, and I don't know why it's doing that. But we have pictures of these minis that are going to be given away. I have already started the printing process. Oops. Turn it this way. There he is. This is the body of the grave golem. And as you can see, he's got a necklace of skulls, and he's got an actual skull for a head. And then he's got like all kinds of trinkets from the grave around him. There's thigh bones in his waistband, like in his back here. You can see there's thigh bones sticking out of him. That this is a multi-part model. When it goes on this base, so it is a large model, or actually, is this huge or large? 75 millimeters. So I think it's a huge base. It's 4 tiles. Is that huge or large, Josh? Do you remember? Large is 3. So this
large.
is
Large
this
is 3. Yeah.
This is huge, I think.
No. So you're talking about squares on a map?
Yeah.
Large. It would be large if it was 4.
Large is 4? Okay. Because I know that. Well, no. There's medium is 1. 4 squares is large.
So it would go.
3 squares is
5,
huge.
10, 15, 20. That would be a large creature. Huge would be.
4
huge.
or more.
Huge can be 4 or more.
Yeah, it's 3 inches across. So it is a huge creature. And it is basically going to stand about, his legs are about that big, so it's going to stand about that tall when he's put together. And this is only one of the models that's going out. I have printed both his arms, they're in the other room, and his legs are printing out now, I do believe. So I'm going to be able to show you all the parts for this one mini sometime, maybe by tomorrow night when we do the talk show. And I'm going to get all those minis printed out, so when we hit 7K, we're going to pick one winner. But it's not going to be from all 7,000 people. It's going to be one winner from everyone who has shared the Facebook post on the contest. And I do believe that Facebook post is pinned right now, because that contest is going much faster than our other contest. And our other contest is for a different group of minis, which unfortunately I have not added to the list of minis that I'm scrolling through, and I need to, I apologize. But that is to get us to 200 followers on Twitch. Now, where are we right now? Twitchy. We are at 86 followers right now on Twitch. So we're trying to get to 200 followers on Twitch. And when we get to 200 followers, we're going to give away a different set of minis. That set of minis is including 3 new hero characters that I found off of another Kickstarter I backed, and they're freaking gorgeous. Josh and Kessie, and I don't know.
Johnny Trinity.
Yeah, Johnny Trinity is Josh's favorite.
Johnny Trinity.
But they are fantasy-based characters. Johnny Trinity has a crossbow, and they are basically going to be printed out, and they're also printed out with a full setup for a bar scene, which includes the bartender, the serving person, and the mysterious man sitting in the corner, which may or may not be Aragorn. It looks exactly like him.
That's totally
yeah, and then there's a
Strider in that time.
Strider.
Sorry. That's Strider.
There's a hearth or a fireplace with a stuffed deer's head on it. There is a bar. There is a couple of tables, some chairs, everything like that. So it's got everything you need to set up a bar for these characters to hang out in. So we're going to give that away when we hit the 200 minis. Now, the giveaway for the 7K is probably roughly about $200 worth of figures. You got to look at all these bosses. The one on screen right now is amazing. You're going to get that set of heroes as well. There is like 4 other giants. There's a hill giant tyrant. There's a storm giant. There's a cloud giant. There's a frost giant. There's a fire giant. There is the grave golem. And then there is the yeti. There's the fire giant right there. There's the grave golem. That's what he looks like when he's fully assembled. He is amazing.
Which,
what else?
By the way, still want that grave golem for whoever wins. Yeah, just hit me up. You know.
So we will be doing those drawings as soon as we hit those markers, and those markers are going to be at, like I said, 7K followers on Facebook and 200 followers on Twitch. Now, also, if you can, subscribe to our Twitch channel. We know the times are tough. We're not asking you to do it if you can't. Please keep coming back. We're going to start posting the videos up onto YouTube for folks to go back and watch our previous videos. And we'll be posting these videos a week out from when they air because we know that not everyone can do it right now. We appreciate everyone who does. Every dime you put into goes to us sending out new equipment to everybody. We just sent Kessie a laptop, and unfortunately the keyboard stopped working on it, so we had to send her a keyboard. But she's getting that.
I have a working computer again.
Yes.
It's the best.
But Kessie has a working computer again. We sent Josh a new camera so we can see Josh. Yay! Josh running. And so we're starting to get the equipment is starting to go out, but we are literally 6 or 7 different players in 6 or 7 different locations. We need to make sure that everyone has at least the minimum equipment to get the show broadcast in their different locations. And so we're working towards that that's our priority goal right now. So every subscriber, every dime we get is going to go towards getting everyone set up properly. Like, I know, Josh, I know you got a new camera, but I know your laptop is still giving you tons of problems. So, he's going to try resetting it, but if that doesn't work, that's one of the other things we're going to have to do. We need to order another laptop. So that's all the type of stuff we have to get done. And so right now, this is the time we need subscribers the most. All right. So last thing, also because of COVID, all of us are gamers. All of us are geeks who are here. We're all members of this community. And the one thing in this community that is our home, is our, the place that we choose to spend a lot of time when we're not here at, playing games in our houses. And that is our friendly local game store, FLGS. And we wanted to show as much support as we could for all the friendly local game stores that are out there and are freaking struggling right now. So, that being said, tonight's store is going to be was nominated by Lauren. So, Lauren, I'm assuming that you go to the store?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to give us the heads up on the store? Yes. Go right ahead.
Madness Games and Comics. I go to their location in Plano. They have another one in Denton that I have heard is equally awesome. But the staff are all super friendly and super knowledgeable, and they have a fabulous selection of comics and graphic novels and resources for a variety of RPG systems. They have tons and tons and tons of board games and cards and a huge play area, which is almost half the store, where they have tables set up and you can reserve them for different games, and they host Adventures League, or they did before COVID, every Wednesday night. And it is an awesome place to go and connect. They have a bunch of miniatures that they are slowly expanding their collection. And they have the paints and the supplies for pretty much every aspect of tabletop roleplay. So they're really awesome. And like I said, the staff is great, and I have not had a bad experience going in there.
And I've actually been to Madness a few times. I didn't know if you know this, Lauren, but we're over in Fort Worth. Jessica and I are.
I did not know that.
Yes, we're right over. We're just a ways over. Well, it's Dallas Fort Worth, so just a ways is an hour and a half.
Right.
But yeah,
Just
so
no big deal.
stone's throw.
yeah, just a stone's throw if you have a catapult. But yeah, we basically I've been to Madness several times. It is, ladies and gentlemen, when I say that this is probably the largest game store I've ever been in. I have been to game stores all across the East Coast and down into from Louisiana, Texas, New Orleans, Mississippi, all the way up to Washington D.C. area. And this is the absolute largest game store I've ever been in my entire life. Madness there's a reason it's called Madness. The guy who opened it is crazy. I mean, that store is huge. And it
earns its name.
Yeah. And it is nice. They keep that store immaculate. And everything is organized. It's crazy. It's nothing like your typical game store. And so that's one of the reasons that we need to make sure that these local game stores survive. Now, obviously, before COVID, Madness had great success. They opened up a second location. They were doing wonderful. But we cannot take a successful store for granted. Just because it's successful, we cannot assume that it's going to make it through this period. We have to do everything we can to support them. So, if you are local to Madness Games and Comics, and we have a link up there for their Twitter and for their Facebook and for their actual website. If you're local to either one of the two Madness locations, find out what they're doing. Every game store is doing curbside service now. Almost every single game store is doing mail order. I mean, yeah, you'd save $5-10 by going through Amazon, but give me a break. You're not going to have a place to go play. You're not going to have a place that's been literally made their business to support our gaming communities. And that's what we need to return the favor on. So, that being said, thank you very much, Lauren, for reminding me about Madness and for nominating them for this. And Madness, we hope you guys survive. We want to see you guys on the other side of this so we can come out and I can show my wife the biggest game store I've ever seen. So, that all being said, does anyone have... Lauren, do you want to plug your Twitch or your Twitter, your Twitch channel again?
Yeah, sure.
And
so
what days do you play too?
We stream on Saturdays, starting at 2:00 on our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/thekeeprpg. Like I said, we're currently going through a 5e homebrew campaign that I'm DMing, and it is lots of fun. So y'all should definitely check us out.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you again, Lauren, for joining us. And like I said, we do host the Keep RPG on our channel whenever we're not broadcasting. And we actually are going to be doing, hopefully, if everyone can make it, we're going to find out tonight, but we're going to be doing a talk show tomorrow night for dinner and for dinner conversations. And that is going to be about the changes that were just made by Wizards of the Coast to the races in 5e. And that basically is the idea that they're taking out the inherent evilness of certain races. The Drow, the Orcs, the Goblins, all these races that were basically just the boogeyman and were pretty much flat atypical beings that had no real story. They were just the bad guys. Well, they finally acknowledged that that is pretty much nowhere near realistic and nowhere near and doesn't do any service to the current gamers. It limits story. It quantifies things in a way that make it, story very, very hard to run anything but just a linear storyline with these one-dimensional NPCs. So now that they've branched out beyond that, a lot of our gamer community are actually upset because they see it as a massive change to the way things were. And sometimes gamers, well, we react out of hand and change is bad. But, I know for a fact from my gaming standpoint that I haven't run, these creatures in such a heavy-handed way in a long time because it doesn't make good story. It's bland, boring, and like I said, one-dimensional, and that's not what people want in a story. So we're going to talk about what the changes Wizard made to their evil races is, how that's affected the community, and that's going to be at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, Saturday, tomorrow, and it's only about an hour. But we hope you guys will join us for that. Other than that, I think, does anyone have anything else they want to announce?
Hydrate, don't hydrate.
Don't hydrate.
I just wanted to say earlier that, like, when you were explaining some of the stuff about the system, I was like, oh, great. So more ways for me to get myself into trouble.
No, you're the doctor. It's fine.
You're the doctor.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's totally fine.
Yeah,
No,
Cassie.
instead of
The
me
only
dying,
time-
I'll
I
just
know.
kill
The
everybody
only
I
else.
know. I was gonna say that.
No.
Instead of Cassie
You're
dying
the
now,
doctor.
she's
With
gonna
my
be like,
shitty rolls.
We'll sue you for malpractice. It's fine.
Yes, just
Oh,
what I've
was that a
always wanted.
Wait, hold on. Well, we're the establishment in which she practices in.
okay.
We're going to sue ourselves?
Yes.
I mean, you just opened the door for me to be able to sue you.
All right. Well,
See,
ladies
this
and
is why I
gentlemen,
hang out in the engine room.
thank you guys again
Did
for coming
we-
in and
did
hanging
we-
out with us.
My
Did we
pleasure.
wanna- Did we want to name the episode? I know.
Oh,
So
yes.
this game has a mechanic.
Yes.
This game has a mechanic where at the end, so like sessions are episodes. At the end of the session, we have to name the episode. And I have been thinking about that the whole time.
Now, the key to that is the way you spend experience in this game. My mic is the engine. Yes. So the way you spend XP in this game is there's still several different ways you can use these episodes. The first is called a callback. A callback is a mechanical way for you to get an advantage, such as the equivalent of a plot point, by calling back to a previous episode that had a similar situation come up in it that you can use as a reference for the current situation you're in. And if you do that, you basically gain a plot point to be used in the current scenario. You can do that once per episode that you're in. So you can use a callback once per episode. You can also spend an episode as experience points to advance things on your character sheet. Such as you can take one of your traits and raise it if you spend 3 episodes. But you actually have to lower another one of your traits. So you can stage up one trait, but you have to lower another trait. So your traits actually never go truly up. Now, Jonathan and I were talking about trying to do a modification of that, of finding a way to make it to where you can buy up traits. But traits are very, very powerful in this game, and they do a lot. So we're going to have to talk about that as a group. We're looking at homebrewing something for that. But the other thing you can do is you can buy a new skill, which costs 2 episodes. You can stage up an existing skill that came with your template for 1 episode. Was it, Jonathan? We were talking about this last night.
I think it's I think the
One episode if
skill
it's a
depends on
D6.
what the rating is. So if it's like from a D4 to a D6, I think it's 1. Once it goes from a D6 to a D8, it's like 2. And I think if it's a D8 or higher, it takes 3 episodes for each improvement.
Right.
Well, I think if it's a D4 to a D6, it's not trained, and therefore it takes like 2 episodes. But the D6 to a D8 takes 1, and then up from there.
Well, if it's from a skill set you already have, that means you've already trained in it.
Right.
So you're staging that up, and it has to be a skill set that you got from a distinction that you took. Yeah. And we're gonna break down the character sheet and everything like that, and I think we'll do it in a separate video because I want you guys to have the information, because this is a very different game, but it is an amazing system. It is one of the few times, I will tell you all this right now, it is one of the few times that I have read a mechanic-heavy system and gone, oh my god, this is amazing. Because all the mechanics are reflected by details within your story for your character. And that is, I am very excited for that. The only thing I don't like is having to randomly create the target numbers for you guys. That kind of leaves my mouth a little bit bad taste. Because if I roll horribly, then you guys could cakewalk something that should be actually difficult.
I mean, you can always.
I have plot points to burn and stuff like that. Yep. So I still need to figure out where I get my plot points from.
So for this episode, can I present my idea for the name of the episode?
Absolutely.
Let's hear it.
Borealis.
Nah.
I thought that's supposed to be the name of the ending episode of the ship, you know. No, I mean, it's cool.
We're not recreating scene by scene Firefly.
No, we're pretty far off of that. So.
Yeah.
So my only other idea, my second idea would be, let's burn Sky.
Okay, so my idea was close to that one. I was thinking slow burn because everybody's kind of running away from their path.
Slow burn. Ooh.
Moo.
I do like that.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Slow burn. I like it.
So it sounds like slow burn's the winner. All right. And remember, everyone, when you put down, because there's a record sheet that the players are going to be keeping, and by the way, I found a form fillable PDF if you guys want to keep that digitally. I'll send it out. I'll put it up in our Discord. But remember to put notes on when you record the episode's name. Put notes of key things that your character did or experienced, so you can use that for you can use that for your own references for callbacks later on. And the last thing about spending XP from the episodes, if you spend an episode, it gets marked through and cannot be used for callbacks. So yeah, if you have an episode that's like, you use it a lot for callbacks, you might not ever want to spend that one. All right, guys. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really had a good time, I think, getting this set up. We are going to be playing on Friday nights from 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have our Eberron game that's running on Tuesdays from 7 to 10 Central Standard Time. We have dinner conversations on Saturday from 7 till 8 or a little bit after, depending on how the conversation goes. And then we have on Sunday, we have our Strahd campaign running from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, all on Twitch. The links are up in the chat. We thank you all so much. We hope you have a good time, whatever you're doing right now. But remember, always be safe. Stay home if you can. If you have to go out, please, for God's sakes, wear a mask. And practice social distancing. But no matter what, be safe. We want you to come back. Join us again. We love you. And we'll see you later. Just always remember, we'll always save you a seat at the table.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Oh, Jesus.